Previously on All the Good Culture.
On this album called Email My Heart.
Email My Heart?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my
Look
God,
that up,
Sonny,
though,
Sonny
I'm
Bono
thinking,
was a writer on one of these songs on Britney Spears'
Drive Me
album.
Crazy. I want to say that was for the movie. That wasn't off that album. It might have been
Number
released as
9
a
was
bonus
Thinking
track.
About You, Andrea. Yeah, but there's one of the songs on here that it's called The Beat Goes On, and it was written
It was the
by,
Cher cover.
It was written by Sonny Bono.
Yeah, it's a Cher cover.
It's so crazy.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Dosage podcast. We are returning tonight with Locke Steady and myself for another episode of a mini-series that we started so long ago now, and it is known as All the Good Culture, ATGC, if you're unfamiliar. Where we ended last, well, we were headed into the millennium. And what a delay it's been getting our computers back up and running to have everything going again here. So Locke, welcome. We survived Y2K. How are you?
We barely survived Y2K. Clearly, it took us this long to get back up and running.
It did. Let me hit play on this thing that I got going behind us too, because I got backgrounds and animations and things for this episode. We're going a little overboard if you don't see the visual. If you're not watching this, head on over to YouTube. If you're listening to this on podcast platforms, head on over to YouTube. It is archived. But again, this is the Dosage episode 114, 114 of these now. Insane. This is the year 2000 in gaming. Wowza. We've come a long way. And there's a lot to unpack here. Wow. John, thank you for the follow. You can tune in anytime we're live if you're listening back on Dose of Nerd Acumen's Twitch. Live almost every night now at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with something new, something going on. John Bells, I don't know, but welcome. So let's kick things off. We have a lot to unpack in this episode. I want to kind of paint the picture, if you will, of the year 2000 before we jump into what we're going to with everything that happened. If you didn't know, we had the president, Bill Clinton, still in office, ending his term, his final term, his second term. He's a Democrat of Arkansas. January 10th, American Online announces agreement to purchase Time Warner for $162 billion, the largest ever corporate merger, I believe, at that time or overall. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Locke. I don't know if there's been a bigger corporate merger than that.
To be honest, I don't either.
If you
That's
don't
a big
know,
one, though.
the side effects basically killed WCW as well, which normally in these past ones we talk about wrestling and other things too, but there's just so much in gaming to talk about this year. We've cut it down to just gaming. Will we do other ones? You'll find out. January 14th, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closes at 11,722.98, the peak of the dot-com bubble, which is a very important thing. Thank you for the host, Thunder. February 17th, Microsoft released Windows 2000. Do you remember that OS?
Not fondly.
How long was it until we got, which one was the next one? Was it ME, then XP? Or were there other ones in between?
ME was either right before or right after 2000, but they were right around the same time. And then XP was definitely after ME.
Yeah, too many. April 3rd, United States versus, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say United States versus Microsoft. Microsoft is ruled to have violated United States antitrust laws by keeping an oppressive thumb on its competitors. I mean, it's called a monopoly. So,
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the host, Sly.
That's bananas.
June 7th, the United States Microsoft antitrust case orders the breakup of the Microsoft Corporation because of its monopoly in the computer software market. So, as you just mentioned, a monopoly. Here's a fun one. You saw this in theaters, I bet. Thank you for the host, Ty. July 14th. Do you remember what film released that summer? Pretty important one. No? Okay. I didn't keep these in the notes because I want to quiz you on some things. Are you looking it up?
I'm going to fail the crap out of this. I am now, yeah.
You cheater. See, this is why you shouldn't have a computer right in front of you. He's
No
cheating.
way, seriously?
Yeah, July 14th, directed by Bryan Singer. The first... Thanks for the host, Batman. The first X-Men film. Insane. Yes, that film is almost 21 years old. It's almost old enough to drink. Yikes.
That is nuts.
We kind of narrowed down the end of this year with controversy, the United States presidential election. If you didn't know what went down with that, Texas Governor George W. defeated Democratic Vice President Al Gore in the closest election in history. But the final outcome is not known for months because of a disputed vote in Florida. Way to go, Florida. You did it again. Hillary Clinton elected the United States Senate, becoming the first lady of the United States to win public office. It went on to November 17th, the election update. Supreme Court of Florida prevents Florida Secretary of State Katherine Harris from certifying the election results, allowing the recounting to continue. There it is, Sly in chat saying, I demand a recount. What's up, Cody? December 8th, use the presidential election. Supreme Court of Florida orders a statewide manual recount in the votes. The next day, they place a stay on this order. And then December 12th, Bush v. Gore, the U.S. Supreme Court overturns the ruling by Florida Supreme Court. So as you can see here, Shenanigans. The only highlighting
It's
note...
like it was U.S. politics.
It
as
was. It took over the end of 2000. The other thing that took over the year end of 2000, can't talk today, December 15th, Walt Disney Pictures' 40th feature film, The Emperor's New Groove, is released. Okay, I was going to say, I was waiting for a reaction on that one. I know some people are excited about that, so.
It is in my top 10 all-time favorites.
Really?
Of anything, not just Disney. Yeah.
Really?
I absolutely adore The Emperor's New Groove.
You know, I've only seen it probably a small handful of times. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I don't know if I'd rank it even in my top 10 just because I don't have that like super connection with it. There's Kevin.
Part of it was
it's all right.
I will slap you with yourself.
And yeah, co-op, that was year 2000.
A big part of it is, there you go. Right there. A lot of it was the core cast of John Goodman, David Spade, and Eartha Kitt. They absolutely knocked all three of those roles out of the park, in my opinion.
See, you're quoting it in chat here, and I don't remember it enough. I know Andrea here, Alana is quoting it as well. She's excited about that film. I don't remember it enough. I'm sorry. I'm a bad nerd. Bad nerd. Major events in the world of gaming now that we've painted the picture.
Hold on.
We have a hold on.
One sec.
We have a 1 sec.
Yeah, briefly, because I did want to look up the timing window for the releases of Windows because we were specifically talking about 2K.
Yes.
ME was the same year. Windows 2000 came out February 17th, followed in September on the 14th by ME, and then barely a year later we got XP in October of 2001.
Oh God, XP was 2001.
Yeah, they were basically back to back, and that's why I wanted to bring it up because I sincerely thought that we were stuck with ME for longer than we were. But no, XP was like right around the corner.
I mean, that makes sense because I don't think I messed with that OS for very long. So, whoa.
Spicy in the chat.
Co-op, I don't know, man. I worry about you. Vista. God. Next thing you're going to tell me 8 was also good. Jeez.
8.1 was okay.
Was it?
8 was hot garbage. 8.1 gets the distinction of okay over being outright garbage simply because they actually did the smart thing and put the stupid regular start menu back in as an option. I saw a lot of potential in the direction they wanted to go with 8, but I knew it was never going to work, and surprise.
Yeah. Ads, thanks for the host. The thing with 8 was they wanted to go the mobile route. Everything was going tablets, but it doesn't work for a desktop. Don't give me a tablet OS on a desktop.
No, it doesn't. And that's what made me mad about it was that, I saw the logic behind it. Like, clearly they were like, hey, unified experience. If you're using a Windows phone, then you can go to your Windows PC, and it's basically, all one experience. And I'm like, okay, I applaud that mentality, but this is never going to work.
No, it was bad idea from the start. I'm sorry. Keep that stuff separated, just like The Offspring, which you can check out a former podcast of ours. Shameless self-plug right there. How you doing? Let those bad times roll. Oh, shit. I don't think we turned off those redemptions. Damn it. Shall we continue on the major events of the year 2000 in gaming? In January, we had publisher ASC Games shut down due to financial issues arising with the ongoing delay of their upcoming game, Werewolf the Apocalypse. Digital Illusions acquires Refraction Games and 90% of Synergenics Interactive. February, first annual Dreamcast Championships featuring the game Sonic Adventure. Electronic Arts acquired DreamWorks Interactive. Cody, thanks for the host. And the games division of DreamWorks. In March, Game Network hosts the second annual Independent Games Festival. Go! God damn it, Cody.
I'm gonna go turn that off.
Can you?
I don't even know if you can hear me.
I can hear you, but I also hear
on Streamlabs, right?
It is on Streamlabs, yes. Oh my God.
Had to.
How many guests do we have? We have a lot of guests. Oh my God, yeah. Lana, thanks for the host, and how fitting that you got the Titanic host theme. Perfect. That's perfect. Oh my god, this show already is just complete chaos. Just insanity.
I feel like those are our best moments, though.
Are they though? Are those clip-worthy moments, you guys? Cough, cough. Wink, wink.
Subtle hint.
Okay,
subtle
so we have to continue this tradition too. We used to in All the Good Culture. If you haven't listened to the previous 90s series, do so. It's available on podcast platforms and YouTube. Redbeard, we're going to shame you now. Redbeard has never seen Titanic. And we always shamed someone, and it was usually Eric. We usually shamed him.
It's true.
Because he was...
You know what? I am going to have to shame just out of...
Awkward silence.
Can't. The word is gone.
Oh.
Not habit.
He says it was intentional.
Where you do it just because you always do it. Somebody, anybody help me. What is the word I'm looking? Tradition.
Tradition. Didn't I say that too? I said the word tradition. We're going to keep with tradition. Isn't it?
I know.
I gave you
I'm like, I can't rewind.
If you are listening to the podcast, feel free to rewind. I might not have said it. I don't know. But good Lord. Woosah. This is going to be a long show. When we said, this is going to be easy. Anyways, April. Reuters reports that the PlayStation 2 console will have export controls placed on it by the Trade Ministry of Japan as the PS2 is sophisticated enough for military applications. Nintendo also sells its 100 millionth Game Boy/Game Boy Color handheld. 100 millionth. Wow. Yeah.
That's so many.
And that was in 2000. Like, it went on to sell more, thanks Pokemon. Because you know it did. Like, it got a great start with Tetris.
Actually, yeah.
But
I feel like we should be thanking Pokemon for a lot of things, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Thank you, Pikachu, and our guest chair today.
They were they were not in a great position for a minute there.
No. They had some virtual mistakes with their boy. I don't know. I couldn't insert anything clever. That's the best thing. Going to be a long night redemption coming? Oh, God. Moving on, in May, the Academy Interactive Arts of Sciences hosts the 3rd Annual Interactive Achievement Awards and inducts Hironobu Sakaguchi of Square into the AIAS Hall of Fame. Hopefully I didn't butcher that, but I tried. The 6th Annual Electronic Entertainment Expo, otherwise known as E3. God, the 6th annual. Such a baby. Only 6.
I remember reading that when I was going over the notes, and I was like, 6? 6?
What a baby. What a baby. Looking Glass Studios was shut down. In June, Microsoft acquired Bungie. Thank you, Microsoft, for acquiring Bungie. Because for those that don't know, we got Halo and an Xbox. Thank you. Co-op gets it. They understand. Respect right there. If you don't like Halo, I don't like you. Just kidding. But for real. Computer Game Developers Association renamed to International Game Developers Association. Nintendo's Satellaview system ceases to receive broadcasts. Sony acquired Variant Interactive. In July, Interactive Entertainment Merchants Association hosts first annual executive summit. We got redemptions. Hold up. Redbeard doesn't like Halo?
Magic John.
Kevin, I don't listen to your opinions, really. Yours are usually invalid. THQ acquired Volition, which pretty big deal then, and then THQ went bye-bye. I think they're back in some regard, though, aren't they? I don't know.
I saw something about some sort of revival, but
I don't remember. Ubisoft acquired Red Storm Entertainment. In September, Sega.com launches SegaNet, their online console gaming network. Rest in peace. NVIDIA acquired 3DFX Interactive. Some other things
that
here.
Was a big deal.
Oh, the NVIDIA? I mean, NVIDIA, they use their chips now, even in the Switch, I believe. Their Integra systems. That's the primary chipset, I think, in the Switches. Are you looking that up?
Yeah.
Okay, because I see the gears clicking in here. You're like, we need confirmation of that if we're spitting facts. Mattel sells the learning company to Gore's Technology Group. All of Sega's internal consumer research and development divisions become individual developer companies. 21-6 Productions was formed. PopCap Games was formed.
You're all going to die down here.
iRob with the Resident Evil host. Man, everyone's getting their appropriate hosts today for the most part. Yeti Interactive was formed. And let's talk quickly about
Super
hardware.
happy about that PopCap one.
Yes, PopCap. I mean, if you don't know, they went on to create some stuff that Locke has streamed recently. So check those out in our
One of my all-time
archives.
favorite franchises.
YouTube.com/ Thanks for the host, MX. Speaking of that, there's a third
NVIDIA
game in the
Tegra
works.
X1.
See, I know some things. See, I know some things, Locke. There are things I know. I sometimes do homework.
We'll give you a pass.
Oh, a pass? That's it? A pass? Shame on you. Hardware releases. Really, the only hardware releases? Let me ask you this. What is a Sago Naomi 2?
Absolutely no clue, my dude. I think it's an arcade board.
I was going to say, it sounds like an arcade. It has to be, because like...
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So that came out, unknown. The Wonder Swan Color, which is one of the biggest fails, from my understanding. Kira, thanks for the hosts. The Wonder Swan Color, though, I believe that was a pretty big fail. Not a lot of games were released on it. Collectors, though, they're hard to find because of that, and they pay a pretty penny for them.
I have a Wonder Swan crystal.
Do you really? Why?
I do.
Why?
Because I saw it at a convention and it was like $60 and I didn't own it, so I added it to the collection.
I mean, fair enough. Have you ever used it?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
Okay, so here's the thing. The only games I could get for it at the time were Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy 2 in Japanese, which I don't read.
I mean, have you tried?
No, I mean, I can't read.
Oh, just in general. This is truly unfortunate. Yeah. How are you finding information then?
No, I did actually. It's funny that you say that. I did spend quite a while trying to teach myself to read Japanese, and I could accurately identify most of the standard character set of both hiragana and katakana. But then having absolutely no functional use for it, just...
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. I actually picked...
teach myself to say one really weird phrase.
What was that? Konnichiwa?
Please help, my goat is sick. I need to find the bathroom, I think is what it was.
How is that going to help? Well, I mean, the bathroom, sure, but like your goat? For one, if you're traveling to Japan, why do you have a goat with you? This is not an RPG. And that's, if it was, why is a goat your traveling companion? Too many questions, I know.
I'm really hard to remember the whole phrase now, and I don't think I'm gonna get it, but it was fun because I used to say it to people and they'd be like, "What?" and I'd be like, "Look it up."
I've picked up on little things just because I do watch a lot of Godzilla films and they're primarily in Japanese, so I've picked up on stuff there. Like I know when they're really afraid of a giant kaiju coming after them. So, I mean, rightfully so. A man in a rubber suit's pretty scary. Let's talk about the most important release that came out in the year 2000. In March, Japan. In October, North America. In November, Europe and Australia. You might have heard of this console.
Small chance.
The PlayStation 2.
Dun dun dun.
The PlayStation 2 is 21. How is that a thing?
That's all right, show's over, guys. I can't do this. I'm already gray. I can't handle any more of this.
I don't know, but Lana's talking about having a large cat in her pants in Spanish. What is happening in chat tonight? Yeah, we're not touching that one with the 10-foot pole.
Unlike you, I don't waste all these
God, why do you
people's
guys
time
redeem the long
bitching
alerts?
and moaning and bitching and bitching and bitching and bitching and bitching and bitching
No, I think they enjoy our misery. Like, I really do. Like, being on the outside when I was trolling you, like, it's fun.
Are you bitching?
And the same thing for Cody, getting him back for his own thing he did, it's fun.
Annihilation
But when you're trying to
what
do
they do
something,
best, owning the tag division.
it kind of sucks.
You know what my
So-
favorite part of this is that I'm kind of in between those two things because I am also trying to do something, but I can't hear it.
Oh, because you turned it off. Like
Well, because I can't have the stream going in the background.
Right, so it's all just in my ears. This sucks. And theirs,
It's
the
all
listeners.
in your head.
It's all, yeah, it is.
Bees.
Misery Business, this is a Paramore. Thanks for the host rated. And no, you guys have not missed the raffle yet. Let's start with that before we dive into the main show here, because like we're already like 20 minutes into the show, but we haven't even started the show yet. We need an admin too. A moderator.
All right now?
No. We need a mod for. There you go. Thanks, Cody. Yeah, they're trying to make us famous again, man. Stop. We don't want to be famous.
You guys rule.
We technically don't want any of you watching us ever.
Low key.
Don't watch us.
Intimate.
Don't watch us. Never ever
Do
watch
listen.
us. Yeah, listen on the podcast. So here's the thing. We didn't put out a poll like I said I was going to. Fail.
Travis.
There are supposedly 26 listeners right now with us in chat. Do we want to do the Strand prizes before we do the grand prize? I know there was kind of a mixed opinion on that. How do you feel?
So that was actually going to be my question: is are we just going to do them all at once,
No, we're gonna break them up.
or do we want to spread them out over the show?
We're gonna break them up. We're gonna do 5 right now. Thank you for the cheer. Strand prizes first. That's the first one. So we're gonna do 5 Strand prizes for 100,000 first. We're gonna do a total of 10 of
Or
those.
was that later on?
100-bit donation from Co-op.
That's
Hip
still
hip.
one of the
Hooray.
greatest
Thank you for
games
that.
ever.
Okay, so let me shake
Hard hands.
it up. Shake it. God, that's so loud. Is that loud?
Shake it up. Shake it up. That's how that song goes, right?
100-bit donation
Is
from
that
Red.
hot, as the kids say.
Hip hip hooray! And 100 from Co-op. Hip hip hooray! As I'm just destroying your ears with shaking. All right, we're doing 5 drawings here for 100,000 strands. We're doing 10 total tonight of 100,000. We're doing 4 more of 250,000 later in the show, and then we're doing 1 grand prize for the big thing down below. The Xbox, the PlayStation, the title belt, of the Cyberpunk stuff. Dramatic pauses, intentional.
You guys
Again,
rule.
100-bit donations galore. Co-op, Redbeard, thank you. Hip, hip, hooray. All right. First of 5 here. God, that's so loud. This thing picks up everything. All right. Numbers ending in 984. The B's are blocking it, but 984. Michael Birch. Locke, can you take notes on this? Do you have something you could take notes?
Notes. Man, hang on. You know what? Here, I'll just put him as an extra thing at the end of the current doc.
Okay. Co-op with a 200-bit donation. Hip, hip, hooray. Thank you for that. Double it. So, Slyko, you're getting 100,000 so far. Our second here. All right. Ending in 391. That would be DKA getting 100,000. What's up, DKA? All right. Number 3. Ending in 244, which would be DKA. DK is cleaning house. So that's 2 for DKA. All right. And again, with these, you can save up and buy a GM show, by the way, too. Because that is a prize. All right. Ending in 841, which would be rated, I believe, 841 is rated.
The gift of Jericho. Drink it in.
Rob with the sub times 20. Good God. Thank you for that. 20. He believes in us 20 times. That's a long time. It's impressive. And our last of the first bunch here, ending in 086. That is Ty. 086. Those are our first 5 of 10 100,000 strand prize winners. So y'all are rich.
Right.
So congrats on that. That's some pretty good stuff.
Why did that not center? There we go. Okay.
Okay, so
as a friendly reminder for those in chat who may not know / remember this, entries you're doing now with your 100-bit cheers don't go towards the drawing we're doing tonight. They go towards the next one when the bar
fills
down that way, fills up.
500
full. The entries you're doing now will go there.
Drink it in, man.
500-bit donation from iRob. Hip hip hooray! Thank you for that. We have a hype train going, and it looks like Cody extended their subscription as well. So we have a hype train going right now. Thank you guys so much. And yes, we are always, once we finish,
6% of the way through level 2.
It's crazy. Thank you guys. Tonight's a big night. We're celebrating the year 2000. We're celebrating you guys as viewers. We're giving away stuff. We love it. Thank you. And again, as soon as we fill up a raffle, we begin yet another one. We keep the cycle going. We want to keep giving you guys stuff. You guys keep showing up. You keep donating. We're giving it right back to somebody. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've already given away what? 2 Xboxes? 3 Xboxes?
Yowie, wowie.
1,000-bit donation from DKA. Hip hip hooray. Thank you for that.
Dang.
So Ty and Rated got an Xbox. MX
then,
got the Switch
MX
bundle.
got the Switch.
And then tonight's our 4th big giveaway then.
Yeah.
Right? And then Rated also got...
that last one too.
Yes. MX with a 1,000-bit donation, answering that call from DKA. Hip hip hooray! Thank you for that. DKA, you I think are our second highest donator ever for lifetime of this channel. I want to just acknowledge that DKA, our second highest ever donator for the channel. Your support definitely goes noticed. We can't thank you enough. So I'm glad that you've won some strands
Rated
tonight.
Wants to know who number 1 is.
Who's number 1? I believe that is Rated.
The gift.
Correct me if I'm wrong on
Jericho.
that. Kira with the resub times 2. Thank you for that. So thank you guys all, though, for the continued support. Would you like to kick off our releases? Would you like to start the month of January?
I put the thing at the bottom of the list. There we go. Okay, so we probably should have discussed this part further before we started the episode. Do we want to just hit every release in the month and then talk about the bullet points, or do we want to stop on each one as we hit it?
Nope. From my understanding, what we talked about was you just hit the month, and then it will return for the ones we want to talk about. So just roll call them.
That's what I thought I remembered, but I wanted to double check.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So, releasing in the month of January of 2000, on the 24th of January, we had a pretty big one in Crazy Taxi coming out for the Dreamcast, the GameCube, and that freshly released PlayStation 2. Apparently was also in the arcade, because we have that information on here. That's interesting.
Yes.
Also, on January 24th was another pretty big release in Mario Party 2 on the Nintendo 64. Releasing on January 27th, we had Dragon Warrior Monsters on the Game Boy Color. And concluding the month, we had a Windows exclusive release in the game Nox, N-O-X, which I've seen 1,000 times, never played once. I think I own it even.
I don't know if I've ever even heard of Nox, to be honest. It doesn't sound familiar. But then again, I'm not a big PC gaming person, so might be why it was overlooked for me. What is...
But yeah, so...
I was going to say, what's one that sticks out for you?
Well, for me, it was Mario Party 2, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, as I mentioned, we kicked everything off with Crazy Taxi, and that was a major release, but it was one that I didn't get a Dreamcast or PS2 until well after all this. So, by then the moment had passed me by. But I had an N64, and I played the crap out of Mario Party 2, let me tell you.
I played a lot of Mario Party 2 as well, but I definitely did play Crazy Taxi. There was a small arcade slash like laser tag place that had the I don't even want to call it. Is it
the arcade cabinet?
I guess you would call it a cabinet, right? It has the whole driver's seat. That's still considered a cabinet, right? Even it has the racing
I would
seat.
argue that's more a cabinet than the other ones, if you think about it, because
Fair
you
enough.
get in it.
It's true. So
That's my 2 cents.
That was my first experience with it. I believe there was a local Pizza Hut that might have had it too. I don't know if that's accurate or not. But I definitely played it in arcade first. And then I had a neighbor that I borrowed the Dreamcast from often. And they had this game. And I played it a lot. Let me tell you, I was not good at it. It was actually not a great game for the Dreamcast. Like, it ran great, but it wasn't a great game.
It's funny to me that you say that, because everyone I've ever talked to who played it, almost all of them were like, yeah, dude, I got it on the Dreamcast, and it was just the best game in the history of games. I'm like, really?
But it's like...
I mean, like, good.
It's like Tony Hawk in the regard where it's nostalgic because of a soundtrack. We talked about this on the Offspring podcast. They had a song featured in the game.
Yeah.
So, like, you remember it for brief moments. Like, it's just not a solid... It's an arcade experience at home. And as you know, those always don't translate well because they're short bursts of fun. Like, the depth of Crazy Taxi is minimal. It's an escort simulator. You're going from point to point to point, and it's just littered with product placement. I believe Pizza Hut and KFC were some of the product placements in that. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. So, like, it's memorable.
Like I said, I missed Crazy Taxi.
It's memorable. I had fun, but it's not a great game. It's just nostalgic, and that's why I wanted to highlight it. Mario Party 2, on the other hand, that is one I feel like we could talk a lot about because it perfected everything from Mario Party 1, had better party games, had better controls, and it just expanded upon what was established in the first game. And then it pissed your friends off, too, when you played against them.
Thank you so much for that, man.
And there's no time limit on that either. Several years ago, I actually dug out my N64 and my copy of the older Mario Party games because I have, I think, all of them, actually, but I for sure have 2. And yeah, we're not gonna name names, but a certain somebody had a temper tantrum
so much for that, man. That's
bananas.
bananas.
And may have literally angrily reached out and turned the console off.
That sounds like a continued
Wasn't me.
narrative, though. Because I think there were other games, too, from that individual.
I mean, it was mostly games like that, though. It was Mario Party repeatedly, though, for sure.
So here's the thing. I have their back on this game, on why I would get pissed off too. Because you can go around the map, you can win every mini game, you can collect and be ahead in stars, but then the game just has this randomizer BS at the end of the game where it's like, you get penalties, and this person over here, just because you're this character and advanced one more step ahead of them on the space or whatever, you get 17 more stars. No, I won
Mario
the
Party
game.
was doing Oprah before Oprah.
It really was, and that made me so mad. So mad. Like, that's frustrating. You don't get good at a game to just lose the game at the end. Like, if you're winning the game, why do you lose the game? That doesn't make sense. Like, that doesn't make sense at all. You won the game, but you lost the game. That's stupid.
I'm laughing at this for 2 reasons. For one, like, I do completely get the ire. I do, I promise, because I've been there. I was easily 10 stars ahead and still wound up losing by the time all was said and done once. So I've been there. But you keep saying, I won the game, I lost the game, and all I can think of is the game.
But, I mean, it is what it is.
Which was also pretty big around then.
It's true. It's damn true.
But, I mean, not then, but, like, not... Anyway, the point is, but no, this is one of the things that always kind of boggled my mind about Mario Party and how it became as popular as it did among people. hold on. Kira, I think it's like the participation trophy, but with that game, more like, hey, you won, but where are you going to hand out the random stars?
It is that.
Okay,
That
okay, I
is
get what you're
exactly what it is.
But that's what cracks me up about it is like, that's a core game mechanic. That carried over from the first game. It carried out through the whole franchise. It's not new and it never
Right.
went away. And yet, people keep buying it, and then we just perpetually forever have this. That's not fair. It's bullcrap. I had 27 stars.
We're all a bunch of masochists.
That's 100%.
Dark Souls
100%
is a
what it
successful franchise because of roguelikes. Roguelikes, you die over and over. Like, come on. Why is that fun? It is. It just is. Here's the thing, too.
And some of them.
Yeah. I'm hoping the one that comes out this week, Returnal, is one of them that's fun. So, we'll see.
It's got a very interesting premise. I will absolutely give it that. It looks cool as hell.
Find out soon in a stream near you.
That's true. Keep your eyes peeled.
Speaking of Mario Party,
Mario
though.
Party. I was just going to wrap up my thoughts on Mario Party.
Go ahead.
It was one of those things where in 2000, it was couch co-op, period. There was no
Yes.
online. Like, it literally didn't even exist for the N64.
Nope.
So, you had no choice. You had to have friends. Y'all had to sit down together, and you had to get good. And then it didn't matter if you got good. But, you know, I loved it. And it was one of those things where I was like, okay, maybe I do like board games, except board games don't have, you know, random tennis matches in the middle of them.
And that's what made it fun. There was a game that came out around this time too, Chef's Love Shack, which is essentially a ripoff of, you know, mixed with Game Show, which so fun. That's a game we still need to play one of these times when we return in person for the weekly dosage, because that will return one day near you. But speaking of online, you mentioned online, and it's a very important thing you mentioned there. Literally this week, they just confirmed that 2 years later, the new Super Mario Party game for the Switch is getting online support, and it's out now, supposedly. I don't know if it's actually live, but it's out. Like, there's online from a game that came out 2 years ago. That didn't we play a weekly dosage of that game?
Yeah, I know. You made a post in the group about the release of the multiplayer add-on, and my only comment was the Homer disappearing into the hedge gif. Because
Yeah.
I already got Tennis Elbow from playing Mario Party with you last time.
And you got it from playing tennis, didn't you? Mario Tennis.
Yeah, well, tennis did not do good things for it, but I definitely got the Tennis Elbow from Mario Party because we were doing the music marching minigame thing at the end of the episode.
If you want some real awkward facial expressions and hand movements, go back and watch that episode.
I promise we're marching. That's what it's marching.
Someone is going to like video edit some weird stuff into that, and that is going to be our next alert. So thank you for that.
That wasn't clip worthy. I don't know what is.
Right. We're feeding you stuff, guys. Eat. Yum, 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 yum. So, yeah, that was a good segue, though. There's online now available. Will we return to the Mario Party series, Community Night? We don't know. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there in the group to see if anyone was interested, and we got Locke hiding. So I don't know if that's going to be a thing. But that's January in the year 2000. February in the year 2000, February 3rd specifically, we had Resident Evil Code Veronica releasing on the Dreamcast, GameCube, and PS2 GameCube later on in 2003. February 4th, The Sims. See, above my head, that's a thing. February 10th, Vagrant Story on the PS1. February 19th, SNK Gals Fighters on the Neo Geo. February 29th, because, hey, leap year. Battlesphere on the Atari Jag. February 29th, Dead or Alive 2 on the Dreamcast. February 29th, this was a popular release day. Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed on the PS1 and Game Boy Advance. Rayman 2 on the 29th, Great Escape, Dreamcast. Sword of the Berserk Guts Rage on the Dreamcast. I don't know. And Pokemon Stadium on the 29th on the N64.
I think I know which one is probably your biggest interest in that month. You know what? Actually, that's not true. There are two that I could see going either way for you specifically.
Okay, hit me. What do you got? I'm curious now.
Code Veronica or Pokemon Stadium. I could definitely see an argument for either one in your case, to be honest.
Interesting. So I'll be completely honest. Code Veronica, until it was released on the 360, missed me.
Really?
Yep, didn't play it at launch. I did not play it then. I didn't play it until it was ported to the 360 later, and I just recently got it digitally because it's backward compatible on the Xbox now.
So when you say it missed you, as in like you just didn't get around to it, or you tried it and didn't like it, and then in hindsight was like, let me give it another shot and enjoyed it after all?
Didn't even play it until 360. So for me, it was around the time too where I was really into PlayStation, and I had not got my Xbox for Halo yet because obviously that's not out. So I was really heavily into PlayStation titles. And I believe we had this talk in brief, but I'll share it again for those that didn't know. What happened? What didn't come out?
I was just going to say it wasn't even out on PlayStation in 2000. It came out in 2001 on PS2.
Correct.
It was Dreamcast exclusive in 2000, so that would be part of it for sure as well.
Correct. That's one of the many reasons that it missed me.
Yeah.
But around this time, too, I was primarily playing sports games. And we had a talk in brief about this, somewhat recently.
Yeah.
But this was at the height of my sports games interests. So I only briefly ventured into some like basic shooters and some RPGs. If I was going to play RPGs, I was going retro. I was going early Nintendo, Super Nintendo, if I was playing stuff of that genre. But I was really heavy into sports games. So that just missed me. And I'll be honest too, Pokemon Stadium I played at a friend's house, and for me it was fine. I didn't have a lot of the stuff that you could make it better because it had compatibility where you could import your Pokemon to battle.
Oh yeah.
So for me, like, it just missed me. I think it was that one, or was that the Pokemon Stadium 2? I can't remember now, but I didn't get heavily into Stadium.
I feel like they both had it.
Okay. Yeah, it's so. I mean,
I had the same problem though. Honestly, like, I'm gonna get thrown out of the nerd community for this, but the only Pokemon game I ever really put any kind of time into was Red. Period.
How do I end the stream?
And I don't even mean just like Red and Blue. I mean Red. Period. I don't think I ever played Blue. I played Yellow for 10 minutes.
Can you hit that end call button?
No, but like, I love Pokemon conceptually. I love everything about it on paper. For whatever reason, I just can never get myself invested in the actual game, and I've never been able to figure out why. It's not like I have any particular specific gripe. It's not like, oh, the graphics were garbage or the story was badly written, because let's be real. I mean, it's an RPG, but it's sort of RPG light, and I played all the way through that garbage Final Fantasy that was on Super Nintendo. What was it called? Not Adventure. Maybe it was Adventure. I'll look it up in a second, but it was Final Fantasy in name only, basically. And I played all the way through that, but for whatever reason, Pokemon, like, I'll watch other people play it, but
I agree with Kira. She says I disagree. Should there be a comma? I disagree that Yellow was better, or you disagree that Yellow was better? I'm confused on the statement. Because if it was Red, Blue, or the later release Yellow, I preferred Yellow. Just because I love Pikachu, one of my favorite characters in Pokemon, besides Jigglypuff. Because Jigglypuff's an asshole. If you ever watch the anime, he is amazing. Puts people to sleep and then he draws on their faces. Come on. That is amazing. That is a college prankster. Like, he's cool. Or she's cool. I guess they have both genders there. Yellow was the better one. They confirmed. So yeah, I've played almost every main title Pokemon game and owned almost every main title. It's the reason I've bought all their handhelds over the years. It's the reason I sold my Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo so I could buy a 3DS so I could get the latest releasing Pokemon game. So, like, to me, the reason I was buying handhelds was Pokemon. But the spin-off games, like Stadium, those games never really hooked me because they weren't traditional RPG that I wanted.
They're not part of the core experience.
No. So while I love the world of Pokemon, the anime, everything they've done for the most part, these spin-off games have never really hooked me. Just like the Team Rescue games. They're okay. They're not as good as the core. So.
Yeah. It was Final Fantasy Mystic Quest was the game I was looking for, by the way.
Didn't play that one.
But you did not miss anything. I say that as somebody who beat it and went out of the way to hook the SNES up to the VCR to record the ending.
Yeah. So your two predictions here for what I would have been into. Knowing me now, sure. Knowing me back then, you're way off. The game I was actually into was The Sims. The first copy of the game I got was a bootleg copy because torrenting was very popular back then. I know, shame on me. I was 15 years old. Did I have money to buy PC games, especially The Sims, which was like, here's $40 or $60 for your core game, and then, hey, do you want like, magic? Or do you want expanded jobs? Or do you want like a hot tub? Or do you want downtown? Or Lana would know all the expansions. She literally has a tote in our storage room of every expansion. She went all in, and it's why I wanted her on this episode to talk about this section specifically. But I just bootlegged the core game. I didn't get into the expansions on the very first Sims. It wasn't until The Sims 2, which will come up in a future episode of All the Good Culture. It wasn't until then where I started buying the expansions and buying the games because I had money. At 15 years old, in 2000, I had saved up for my first drum set. And I was hanging out with iRob because we had a really crappy band together. So that's what we were doing with any money we had. Or we were saving for SmackDown on the PS1 and then trading it like we had custody of a child. He would get certain days and I would get certain days. So that's what I was doing back then.
So there's two really funny things about that specifically in relation to your experience with The Sims. I did buy it. I bootlegged all of the expansions, but I bought the core game. But that was what I was doing with my money as a 19-year-old at that point. was out there buying PC games because I finally could.
I mean, I would have at 19 too. And that's kind of where I ventured. For me, it's why I've stuck with consoles, just because PCs were so foreign to me. Like, the most advanced PC I had in the year 2000 was an E-machine. I wasn't going to run much, on that thing. You could have, but you're not going to run much. So for me, it was consoles. And I wasn't playing a lot of games. Like, I was playing games, but I wasn't, Not as much as the years went on. I would dive into deeper.
So that actually adds another thing I want to mention at the tail end of what I'm going to say here. But the second thing I was going to say about The Sims is I just looked up the list of expansions, and there's 6, I think? 7. There are 7. And the first 6 are actually pretty normal. Live and Large just added new furniture and careers, but nothing off the walls. House Party just added more social interaction stuff basically, and apparently had a Drew Carey cameo, which I do not remember at all, but it's apparently if you host a good enough party, he'll show up, which is just bonkers. Right?
What?
Like,
that's not a
that's
thing.
so random.
Oh God.
You do absolutely need to listen to Smalls and go watch the Sims episodes. Those were absolutely stellar content in my opinion.
So yeah, early days
so
of DNA, that was the first series that we launched. It was a 10-episode series where the concept was, what would it be like for everyone in DNA to live in the same house, but in The Sims? It was like, what was the show? MTV, what the hell is it? Where they all live in the house together. The Miz was from the spin-off of it. Nobody knows the name. This is awkward.
My old manisms are wearing off on you. While somebody tries to come up with the answer to that, I'm going to move on through the list.
The real world.
Then
There you
they
go.
did Hot
Good
Date.
Lord.
There you go. Nice.
That's what the show was. So go check it out.
Hot Lock. Yes, that's. But yeah, so Living Large in 2000 was the first one. Came out the same year as the game. House Party in 2001, and then Hot Date also in 2001. Just added dates you could go out and do stuff. And then Vacation in 2002. Again, you went on vacation, added new areas to do interactive stuff in. Also in 2002 was The Sims Unleashed, which finally introduced pets, which was cool. That one I think was my favorite one of the original runs, expansions. And then Superstars, which just added in a bunch of, be famous career paths and stuff like that. And this was before career paths even mattered in the game. Like, you had to have a job to have money if you weren't going to cheat, but that was all that mattered about it. But then the absolute last one that came out was at the tail end of 2003, and it was Making Magic, and it was where they introduced magic and non-natural elements to The Sims. And that was the very last thing they did for it was in 2003 in Making Magic. And I just thought that was weird because I distinctly remember the early Sims games already being a little bit off the rails. And I know like 3 kind of upped the ante a lot, and then 4 even further, obviously, adding in like aliens and vampires and stuff. But
Yeah.
I distinctly remember the older games being weird too, and I guess they just weren't until the tail end of 1. And then I guess the success of Making Magic, they were like, let's just put weirder crap in 2. And it just sort of escalated from there.
I hate their formula, though. This is the thing that makes me mad about The Sims. Their formula is we give you a base game, especially coming from a prior generation. So as you established, the 2003 was Magic, right? 2004, I believe, was The Sims 2. I could be wrong on that. Let's just say it was. So you had all this expansion and content, right? The Sims 2, you're like, oh, this is going to be great. What are they going to introduce? Well, just better visuals and better creation suite. And you're back down to the core again, the basics. And then you have to wait for like the college stuff. You had to wait for the pets again. And it's like, I just invested like $400 into The Sims 1. Now I got to do it again over the next 4 years?
Yeah. Well, and this is a real early example of EA doing exactly what EA does.
Yeah, microtransactions. Garbage.
Yeah, DLC is the original microtransaction, but it was much more macro at that point.
It's.
But
I just hate that.
So
formula.
my parting thought on that specific subject. Yeah, no, and I feel that I do, and it was one of the things about PC gaming that has kind of always sucked, in my opinion. And like, it's nice that it came to consoles in the sense that it now gives us the option to have more content. So like now we've got the option for like Ghosts of Tsushima is a great example of a place where they did it right. The game was absolutely phenomenal from the jump, and then they released the free DLC for it that added in all the multiplayer content, and then like the weird demon samurai stuff going on as well. And that's a perfect example of it done right. But PC gaming was just fraught with that crap, and The Sims is a great possibly the pinnacle example of it, because there were 7 expansions for the first game. I guarantee you there were more for the second, and they've just continued to add more and more and more. Eat your pockets, absolutely.
So here's the thing: you said Ghost is a great example. With content, especially today's content, where they can just take it away from you. I feel if you buy a core game, you should invest, and the publisher should give you additional content as your investment. Because there's going to be a day where they turn off online. So that content you paid extra for won't work anymore. Just your core game that you paid for. Or other things just won't work anymore. And I know there's the argument of you're paying for just the license of the game. You actually don't own anything ever. It's printed on all media you possess. You're only paying for a license, music, movies, games, doesn't matter. But it's just a problematic. This could be an episode in itself. I just wanted to touch on that real quick. Yeah. But it goes back to this formula. It started, damn you Sims. It starts with you. It doesn't, but I feel you're a good one to point the finger at.
It is a pinnacle example, though.
Yeah.
on that though, I'll say it falls for me under that whole planned obsolescence thing, and I don't like that, and it's pervasive in society in general, I feel, but it's absolutely pervasive in gaming. They expect that it's going to break down or you're going to replace it when the new one comes out. And that's just, it's part of business now. You know what I mean? Yeah. I have a PS5, PS6, or whatever they call that one. I assume 6, because why break from that tradition?
Right,
but it's coming, and I'm going to get it. But it is what it is. But my parting thought on that, as it pertains to console PC, actually specifically, is that this is exactly why I've gotten into so many arguments with people where I'm like, I'm sorry, but if we're talking in an all-around capacity, console gaming is the superior way to do things because it will always just work.
Not anymore, though.
Well, but I mean, in terms of, like, if I go to the store today and I want to play The Sims 4, if I buy a PC copy and come home, for starters, my new computer doesn't even have an optical drive, so I can't even put the disc in.
Yeah, you can get an external drive
out or whatever. Well, you can, but then I got to buy another attachment.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what I mean. Like, everybody's like, well, but PC games, the controls are better and they're prettier, and you can higher frame rates. And I'm like, that's cool. You have the possibility for expansion, but from a strictly consumer standpoint, the reality is console is always going to be king for simplicity.
Well, it's more accessible.
Lack of expense.
Yeah, it's more accessible.
Exactly. And that's what I always try to tell people. I'm like, okay, look, I am primarily a PC gamer. I'm not out here trying to say PC is garbage or you shouldn't do it. I dump stupid amounts of money into the hardware to make sure that I can play Outriders in my ultra-wide monitor at 120 FPS. But if this monitor starts to act weird, it could be a driver issue. It could be the port on my PC. It could be an update to the game. It could be 1,000 different things, and then I gotta sit here and figure out what the crap went wrong. And console is not immune to that anymore with the advent of patches and things like that, and I get that. But again, if I want to play The Sims 4, I can go out to the store and buy an Xbox One and a copy of The Sims 4 and come home, and yeah, I'll have to wait for it to finish setup and do the install and whatever, but I'll be able to play that day, no question.
Yeah.
No troubleshooting, no figuring out why this won't load or why that won't patch. I'm done.
It's just so funny to hear you say this because you and I are completely on different sides of this war that exists out there, with the unnecessary and stupid war, but it exists, right? It exists with everything. Pepsi, sure. Coke, you know, it's all, everyone just likes to argue about things. But you and I, it's nice, it's refreshing to hear you say that because I am primarily, and I always have been, a console person, whereas you've been PC. And that's not me saying, PC, you guys are the master race, you suck, you're all elitists. No, I don't care. Like, I watch a lot of YouTubers that do builds. I, envy, for one, the wallets they have to do that kind of thing. And just the fun in it. I get why people do their own builds. It's fascinating. It's fun to watch. I get it. To have that kind of like, I built this, I put this together, I made this, this is my creation. Like, there's some sort of achievement behind doing that and some sort of pride when somebody builds a PC. And they, not so much with like the RGB stuff now, because I feel it's just kind of unnecessary flair. I get it. It looks cool, but like,
I can't talk crap about that because I have all kinds of fancy lights and stuff in my computer.
Right. And if I was to build my own, I probably would too, just because that's the thing now. So whatever.
Yeah.
But again, consoles, it's old reliable is what I'll say. And you emphasize that completely. I'll go buy a game from the pawn shop. If it doesn't have scratches, it should work, right? Ideally. Yeah. So, and for me, that's just accessibility. It's convenience.
Yeah. And in a consumer market, accessibility is the victory. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm struggling right now to decide which platform to buy Mass Effect Legendary Edition on because I want to take advantage of all the cool stuff the PC is going to offer for it.
There's a sale right now for PC, $49.
See, and that's another problem. And I'll look at that later. Trying to get me to spend money.
I'll send you the link.
Awesome, do that. But that's my problem. Like, I want that option, but at the same time, my computer is now a little over 2 years old. And
burn it
PCs
down.
age out faster.
Yeah,
What's
burn
that?
it. Burn it down. It's done.
Basically, PCs age out faster, significantly faster than consoles do. They just do.
Yeah.
And that sucks because, like I said, I dumped a ton of money into this thing, and it was beastly when I bought it.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's a chump now, but like...
Are you speaking on your laptop?
You don't have... What's that?
Are you speaking on your laptop?
Yeah.
See, that's why you need
But
a
there's
tower.
no guarantee.
You need a tower.
Well, I bought this one specifically because it was advertised as one where I'd be able to upgrade the GPU. And the GPU is the thing that ages out the fastest.
Mm-hmm.
But even if I wanted to upgrade the GPU, where am I going to find one now? Because the line
There's
I'm in
shortage.
is the RTX, and the RTX is the hardest to find graphics card on the market right now, which is just bonkers.
And that's already over 6 months old. So that means as soon as you'll find it, the next one's coming out. Because what is it, the 3080, the latest?
Yeah, I
And
think.
and you can't find that for
Well, and
cheap.
the 3080 is already about to be replaced by the Super.
That's what I'm saying. Because that was
My 2070 was already replaced by the 2070 Super within like 6 months of me getting this laptop.
right, because that came out last fall. It was
Yeah.
like September, October-ish.
It just moves so fast, man.
We should continue, though, the year 2000 gaming and have a different podcast regarding PC and console gaming and bring back Versus again because, man, we got way off topic here. If you found that fascinating, let us know in comments and maybe we'll do a show on that. Sorry to bring it back in because I could continue talking about this stuff for hours, but we shall bring it back in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's go to March now. Let's have you take over.
Okay. So I feel like March is going to go quickly for both of us. I can see right now neither one of us did anything. And honestly, kicking off the month of March was actually a PS2 game and the beginning of a very highly regarded series in Kessen, which I'm sure I'm not pronouncing properly for once. But I know of it because of my time working at GameStop, but I've never played it. I don't really know anyone who's told me anything other than, oh yeah, I played it and loved it. And that's all I got. And that was on the 4th of March. Jumping almost to the end of March, March 21st was Wario Land 3 for the Game Boy Color. Followed on the 23rd by Thief 2, The Metal Age. The following day, March 24th, saw Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards. The 27th... Oh, hold on. Oh, wait.
What are we booing? What are we booing?
Lana with Match 1 Mountain Dew.
Match one? No, I'm drinking Faygo that you bought me at the food truck.
No. There's the you started the Coke Pepsi war in the chat there.
Oh, that's going back and forth now? Oh, God.
Yeah, iRob voted for Mountain Dew Code Red, so Lana had to see him up by voting regular Mountain Dew. Yes, iRob Crystal Shards. It did kind of sound like that's what I said. I was hoping nobody caught that, but clearly I'm not getting away with that one.
Your bot is capturing votes, by the way.
Yeah, the bot is always capturing votes if we're live. I'm not tracking them. I don't have the other half of the bot running.
Because right now Dr. Pepper's in there, so.
I mean, if anyone's really curious, I might run it back and snatch these votes just to see what happened. But anyway, where was I? March 24th was Kirby 64. March 27th saw Soldier of Fortune, which at the very least we should acknowledge because that was a big deal. I just never played it, and I get the impression you didn't either.
No.
March 30th was Final Fight Revenge. And then March 31st saw the release of Tech Romancer for the Dreamcast, MDK2 for both the Dreamcast and the PS2 was in 2001, my bad. And then Star Lancer also for the Dreamcast. As I mentioned at the top of this list, neither one of us marked anything in here. I do want to say Wario Land 3 continued a fun tradition of having Mario games that weren't Mario, and that series did well, which is cool. Thief 2, The Metal Age did expand on the original Thief in a lot of fun and unique ways, but it was not very memorable, which is why I didn't mark it. I know I played it, but outside of it being part of the Thief series, I couldn't tell you anything about it. And then, of course, Kirby 64 is huge in the speedrunning community for some reason.
And I that's where I've only seen it. I've never played Kirby 64, to be honest. I'm mad that I missed that one because I do like Kirby. Wario Land 3, I'm mad I missed that one too because I did play Super Mario Land 3 Wario Land, which was the first one that came out on the Game Boy. I liked that one a lot. I played that a ton as a kid. I did not continue
You
playing
streamed that one,
series.
didn't you?
I did.
that
I
one on the
think,
Classics
yeah.
Lounge?
So yeah, check that out in our archives. I've played like almost 50 games in the Classics Lounge, so I don't remember what I've played and haven't now. But yeah, check that out. That's in our archives, I believe. But that's it for that month. Yeah, there's literally nothing from March of 2000 that.
Yeah, I mean, like, we can take a second to note that some of these titles were sort of important historically, but they meant nothing to us.
Yeah, and that's really it. That's where we leave it. If you guys played those games, if you enjoyed some of them, you want to give us advice or recommendations, obviously if you're listening to this back, send us a message, comment below. You can reach us online on our social media pages. Let us know what you think. April.
Yeah.
Saw the release on
Here we
April
go.
4th. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer on the Dreamcast. April 27th, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask on the 64. April 28th, Gundam Side Story 0079 Rise from the Ashes on the Dreamcast. April 30, Excitebike 64 and 64. April 30, The Misadventures of Tron Bonnie? PS1. And April 30th, Wild Arms 2 on the PS1. So do we just begin with Pod Racer? I know I'm just going to call you out on this. You're not a fan. I know you're not a fan. When I shared my excitement that it was getting ported to the Switch about a year ago, it was like Christmas when I
poop
find
on it.
you. Well, immediately I'm like, Locke, guess what? And you're like, what? Pod Racer. You're like, steaming pile of trash filled with mucus and vomit and more poop and baby poop. I'm like, but why? But pod racing. And then you slap me in the face. Twice.
And a Pepsi.
In all honesty, though, that first film gets a lot of crap. I disagree with most of it. And for whatever reason, a lot of people I talk to, in a lot of sales bins, I see that game everywhere. Like if you go find an N64 bin of games somewhere at a pawn shop or at a reseller, you're gonna find the Pod Racer game for $1 or under. There's just stacks of it. It's almost more prominent in those pawn shops than sports titles. Like it's that bad. Like everyone had bought the game and then they got rid of it. I thought it was fun. Is it Mario Kart or Diddy Kong Racing? No. I thought it was fun. It captured the excitement of pod racing, the special effects and sound, and it was fun. It was fun. It's a fun game.
Here's where I will concede that. I will agree with you on this specific condition. The arcade cabinet was cool as hell.
Yes.
I hold a grudge against the arcade cabinet because they replaced the 4-player cruising cabinet at Pinball Pete's with 2 Pod Racer cabinets, and I was very upset about it because I loved cruising. But props where it's due. The Pod Racer arcade cabinets were cool for sure. But that's all the ground I'm given. That's as good as you're getting out of me.
I guess I'll have to take that. So I mean, it's something. But if you want to check the game out, if you have a Switch, it is accessible today to play. It's slightly upgraded resolution. It's a little bit more sharper, and the game is still fun. It's a dated game, for sure. Don't expect the polish that you would see on a modern racing game. But it's fun to dive back into for nostalgia's sake. If you missed it, or if you grew up playing that, I recommend it.
See that.
The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
I feel like this conversation is not going to go the way you expect it to, and I'm very excited to see your reaction.
Okay.
You want to go first?
No, I'm curious now.
I fucking hated this game when it came out. Absolutely could not stand it. Like, I would not have put Zelda 2 above it because that is still toilet water. But I absolutely hated Majora's Mask back in the early 2000s. I have since gotten over being stupid, and it is one of my favorite games. But at the time when it came out, I loathed it.
So, Zelda
Questions for a new
2.
host?
No. Zelda 2 is the worst Zelda game.
That's true.
Towards the bottom of that list of bad Zelda games is Majora's Mask.
Surprised, honestly.
I don't love timed games. Like, I know I talked
That
about
really was
Crazy
what killed it for
Taxi,
me.
but I know going into Crazy Taxi, it's an arcade game. Majora's Mask is a timed game. I don't like the pressure of time as the narrative and forcing me to do things in a confusing way without giving me proper direction.
Yeah.
And,
for sure.
And as a kid, my ADD was already bad enough. I didn't need that on top of it. Do I respect the game today for what it is and what it does? Yes. Have I rebought it and own it on the 3DS? Yes. Have I completed it? No. Do I watch a lot of people online play it in speedrunning community? Hell yeah, I do. But
That's where most of my current appreciation for the game really came from, was the combination of watching speedrunners do it, because I'll watch almost any speedrunner do almost any Zelda game. Those are always fascinating to watch to me. But also a lot of the not conspiracy theories, but the general theories behind, I don't want to say game theories because that's a thing, but
it's trademarked.
You know what I mean?
We can't say that.
Yeah. The general ideas of like examining it through the specific lens of it being a euphemism for overcoming loss, like the stages of grief and things like that. And I was like, that kind of stuff really makes me appreciate it, even if that isn't necessarily what they intended when they made the game. Because, you know, gamers do that. They'll look at a game and go, this means that. And the developer will be like, no, it means shoot the guy in the face. It's a shooter game. What do you mean it means? Bang. That's what it means. But, you know, we'll apply meaning to anything.
Yeah.
But I feel like a game that resonates the way that Majora's Mask does really is owed some respect just for connecting with people the way that it did, for sure. I've beaten it in my whole life maybe 2 times, and one of those times was purely because my younger brother was playing it and he kept getting stuck. And so effectively I played most of the game for him. But if not for that, I don't know that I ever would have beat it either. And I definitely bought it, you know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean, I owned it on the 64. I like I said, I've owned it again. It's not a bad game, but I don't like what they did for it.
yeah. Well, and there's so much stuff hidden in it that, like, the pressure of hurry up, save the world, which, I mean, the pressure of save the world already, but do it in time constraints is bad enough. But to find out later on how much stuff is really hidden all over the place in this game was honestly very frustrating.
Well, it's
'Cause
too
like,
much.
Well, yeah, because I constantly felt pressured to run from one thing to the next, and if you just do that, you can beat the game. You'll get an ending.
Right.
But you'll miss a ton of stuff. Red said we're just out here hating, and that's, you know, in 2002 even still, I would have just said, yeah, I'm hating, this game is trash.
I did for a very long time.
Yeah, I adore this game now, and its place in Zelda lore as a whole. And the gameplay itself is overall fine. It's no different than Ocarina. You know what I mean? It's fine to play.
Yeah, I was going to say, the gameplay is almost identical to Ocarina.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the same engine. It's the same everything in that regard. They just added enhancements and various things.
For that reason, I was so hyped to go into it. And then I got into it, and I was like, well, this is infuriating.
Well, it's confusing. Like I said,
It was very confusing.
And I think it's one of those things, once you master the hook at what it's trying to do, you probably appreciate it more. But for me, I just didn't want to give it the time, especially, again, at this time. My game was Ocarina at that time.
Sports games.
It's sports games. I loved Ocarina. It's probably second favorite Zelda game, if I had to rank them. We already know my first. So really, like, glad it exists. It has a place in history. A lot of people hold it in high regard. But that's just my thoughts on it. Was this your
To
month?
see how close we were on that one.
Yeah, I thought we were going to... I'm assuming you thought we were going to be very different, too.
Yeah.
Trying to... Nothing else in April, really, that I had noted here. You?
Well, I don't have anything I want to deep dive on, but the last 3 entries I do want to just briefly mention. Excitebike 64, I specifically didn't want to get into because it was very much a big letdown for me for how much I loved the NES one. And the N64 one was... It just felt like a gross attempt to capitalize on the name and nothing else. Didn't care
Wasn't
for
it just like straight up motocross and nothing related to
Basically,
the
yeah.
original? Yeah. See, I missed that title completely.
Yeah. Again, you didn't miss much. But the last 2 specifically, The Misadventures of Trombone and Wild Arms 2, were 2 absolutely phenomenal RPGs on the PlayStation 1 that I highly recommend people go back and check out. But I don't have a ton of memories on them because I never actually got to play them myself. I've just seen other people play a bunch of them. Misadventures of Trombone is basically a direct spin-off from the Mega Man Legends RPG games, if you remember those. She was one of the side characters, and they gave her her own game.
Okay.
So it was similar in flavor, but also distinct because you're her, not Mega Man.
Right. Okay.
But it was the same universe, so it was a good time.
And
then
Legends...
Wild Arms, of course, is a hugely important series.
Legends was one of the first ones to have success with Mega Man on PlayStation 1, right?
Yeah, it was one of the big ones, yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to... I'm OG when it comes to Mega Man. Once they started doing X and stuff after X1, I just kind of fell off of it.
Like X for a lot of reasons, but the original Mega Mans are definitely, in my opinion, better.
Do you want to... You have May. You're the next, right?
Yeah, I was going to say we just roll into May then.
Let's roll into May.
All right.
Keep rolling. Limp Bizkit. That was
May
a
will
hit
also
song,
be
I
a
think,
little
around
bit-
then.
It might have been.
I think it was like 2000,
Somebody
2001.
Somebody who's not me should look that one up while I'm reading this.
Rolling Limp Bizkit. When was it a hit? 2000 or 2001?
So kicking off May on the 4th, we had Four Wheel Thunder for the Dreamcast, which I've never even heard of. May 5th, we had Metal Gear Ghost Babel. I got nothing. May 9th, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, the first one. May 14th, with Bomberman Max for the Game Boy Color. May 16th saw the release of SimCity 3000 Unlimited. May 22nd was Earth 2150. Also on the 22nd was Metal Slug Second Mission, and possibly one of the biggest games to come out around this era in terms of lasting effect. On May 22nd, we saw Perfect Dark for the Nintendo 64. Followed up on the 24th by Daikatana. 28th saw Bomberman 64 Second Attack, and that was how we closed out May. So I'm definitely going to let you lead this one, because I have memories on this game, but they're few and far between and probably not as flattering as people would expect.
All right, so going back, the Four Wheel Thunder, I think it was one of those truck simulator racing games where you just get to checkpoints, because especially if it's on the Dreamcast, a lot of those arcade ports were going to Dreamcast because Sega, they do arcade very well. I think that was what it is. They had a lot of really cool truck driving arcade games. Metal Gear Ghosts, I don't remember that. Just diving down to what I do remember, SimCity 3000 Unlimited. I love simulation games, and for me, like 3000, I kind of like dipped into, but it wasn't until SimCity 4 where I really got back into the series after kind of exiting from it in SimCity 2000. So for me, like I don't have a lot of huge memories with 3000 Unlimited specifically. And have I skipped any you want to talk about? Metal Slug, no. So really the only one this month that I had any memories with was Perfect Dark. As sitting next to me right here at the table, was their name Joanna or Johanna? Joanna Dark. It's been a minute since I played the series. I think the last one, the series I played was the 360. That was a launch game, I think, too. Can't remember.
I think so.
If not
Chat
launch, but
confirming
launch.
that it was 2000 for Limp Bizkit, by the way.
So there you go. Keep them rolling. So really for me, the biggest debate that you're going to have people talk about was Perfect Dark 64 is better than GoldenEye on the 64. I disagree 100%. Did Rare introduce some better sci-fi weaponry for Perfect Dark and have different kind of environments for the arenas? Sure, of course they did. But the gameplay loop and the story and just the weapons and the characters, everything was better in GoldenEye. The memories, for myself, I just had more fun in GoldenEye. The music when you got shot, the blood, and like, come on, that is fun.
Yeah, dude.
Like, more people remember that game over the movie. Guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
At least from our generation.
Yep.
So, like,
For sure.
but don't let me dismiss Perfect Dark as still being a good game, because it really is. It's a great sci-fi shooter that takes what they made in GoldenEye and molds it into new features in Perfect Dark. And it's a franchise they should explore again, I think, personally. So, I mean, that's all.
Anything against it.
That's all I have on it.
When I say my memories on this weren't as flattering, it's specifically because there were so many people who tried to make the argument that Perfect Dark was so much better than GoldenEye. And I'm like, you're entitled to your opinion. I just think it's garbage. Your opinion, not the game. Because Perfect Dark is a good game. It's absolutely solid. It was well put together. Basically, they just reskinned GoldenEye and then improved on it in a lot of various different ways, but there is nothing that will ever over GoldenEye for nostalgia factor.
Right.
And like we talked briefly, was it a month ago, 2 months ago now? It had to be a month ago. It couldn't have been that long ago when the leak of the 360 version of GoldenEye came out.
Yeah, and you hopped on that and checked that out? Yeah.
Yeah, I checked it out for all of about 15 seconds. And it was cool to revisit. The gameplay does not hold up, not even in that version, really, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change my feelings for the game as a whole. Pierce Brosnan as Bond, Sean Bean as Trevelyan.
It's a good cast.
Yelling at our friends not to pick Oddjob because he was too short, playing slappers only.
Jaws.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I like GoldenEye will always hold a higher place in my regard than Perfect Dark because Perfect Dark walked directly in GoldenEye's footsteps.
Oh, it did.
And that's why I will never see it as a better game. It's an improvement in a technical sense. I'll grant it that for sure. But for me, the end result is, that path was already tread. You did it a little faster.
Yeah, I mean, basically. That's the best way to describe it and sum it up. Don't get us wrong, though. Play the game if you can get your hands on it. It's one you should have in your collection if you own an N64. Is it one you should go out and rush and get an N64 to get that game? Probably not. But if you do have an N64, pick up that game.
It's one that deserves a place in your library for sure. And I do own the game somewhere around here. I have a physical cartridge. I do own the game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I had a copy.
I don't hate it.
I sold my 64. The biggest regret I have in my life. Probably not the biggest regret I have in my life, but one day I'll get a 64 again. One day. I'm sad.
I do just briefly want to point out Metal Slug being a continuation of an existing series that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that the second one exists because the franchise is good overall. And point out that while I love Bomberman as a franchise, I don't at all Max or 64.
Didn't play those.
Again, Bomberman is dope.
Bomberman is fantastic. I'm old school Bomberman though. Just give me the classic vanilla, and I'm okay with it.
I really liked the arcade ones.
Yes.
At home. I'll say nothing further.
I mean, come on. Classics Lounge is built on piracy. Shall we move on to June?
Yeah, I was gonna say June.
Let's keep flying here. June. This sounds like a body part. Evolva. June 1st, Evolva. Also Ground Control. Space Channel 5 on the Dreamcast. From my understanding, that's a heavily talked about one that I never got my hands on. Dracula
Same.
Resurrection on the 7th. Vampire. The Masquerade Redemption. Also on the 7th. Tomb Raider on the 12th for Game Boy Color. Oh god, I can only imagine. I didn't play that. Shogun Total War on the 13th. Draconis Cult of Worm? Worm? I don't know how to say that. Worm? Okay. Dreamcast 22nd. 22nd also. Omicron, the Nomad Soul on the Dreamcast. 26th Deus Ex. 28th Extreme Sports. 29th Persona 2 Internal Punishment. Also on the 29th Diablo 2. Icewind Dale. Jet Set Radio. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Man, what a stacked day on June 29th. Homeworld Cataclysm.
Yeah.
And ending the month on the 30th, Mortal Kombat Special Forces on the PS1. Personally, I didn't highlight anything from this month to dive deep into, but we do have probably a few on this list that should be acknowledged. So I'll have you lead the charge on that, because I don't have anything that I'm going to...
Just drop it right in my lap, will you?
I'm just a big old pile right there. You take it.
Yeah. So, well, okay, so there's one that I'm shocked you didn't specifically want to talk about.
Oh?
And I'm actually a little surprised I didn't mark it, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
We'll get to it in a second, though. I tried to look at the wiki entry for Evolva, and I couldn't get past the first thing. It's you lead a team of Geno hunters. I don't even know. I don't want to know. I've never even heard of Ground Control. Space Channel 5 is very, very highly in the online community, but again, just like you, I never played it.
Yeah.
I was aware of it. I never touched it. I don't know diddly about Dracula Resurrection. Vampire, I was passively aware of the tabletop RPG, so I knew the game existed, but never played it. I don't know who thought putting Tomb Raider, of all things, on Game Boy was a good idea. So
They put
I
it on
also
a
never played
Nokia.
that.
They made the first Tomb Raider on a Nokia.
Okay, but which Nokia? Because some of them are pretty beastly surprising.
No, like an old...
The oldie, the green guy?
Yeah, like the vertical screen still, Nokia.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
So Tomb Raider is basically Doom Jr. then. Can we put Tomb Raider on it? I do want to point out Shogun Total War is an early entry in the Total War series, which, if you're into RTS games, is very highly regarded as well.
I've heard of
and
Annihilation.
Say again?
I've heard of Total War Annihilation in that series.
Yeah, same franchise. Same franchise.
Yeah.
But Shogun was very specifically about a specific era in Japanese history.
Feudal Japan.
Yeah. So I mean that one, I think, honorable mention for existing, because that is a long-lasting franchise. They're still getting new ones to this day. I don't know diddly about Draconis Cult of the Worm. Never even heard of it. Although most of these things, at Dreamcast, if it was Dreamcast exclusive, it's probably why. I've heard of Omicron. I've heard great things about it. Never played it. Deus Ex actually also deserves a pretty big honorable mention. That game did not age well either, from my understanding, but it did kick off a very highly regarded franchise.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these do have other notable titles. Like everyone in chat right now acknowledging them real quick. Tomb Raider, Game Boy Color, not the Tomb Raider that you think or know of. So, because I know a lot of people are talking about loving Tomb Raider. It's not the game you think. Look up Tomb Raider and Game Boy Color and you'd be like, what the? So.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yikes.
I don't know. Extreme Sports, one I'm glad we didn't see too much of. Also Game Boy Color, go figure.
Yeah.
Persona 2 actually, if nothing else, is notable for being exceptionally rare. Most of the early Persona games are very, very hard to find.
I'll be honest, I didn't get into that franchise until the Vita. So, like, it's a fairly new franchise for me for learning stuff on. So I didn't know anything. I knew this existed, but I didn't know anything on it.
unless I am horribly mistaken, which is possible, but I do believe is very unlikely, Parasite Eve is technically considered part of the Persona.
Really?
Not the actual main Persona storyline, obviously, because it's called Parasite Eve.
Well, right.
But
Set in the world of?
it's at the very least, I believe it's the same original creator. Parasite Eve was Square, though, I think, and
Yeah.
Persona's all Atlas. They're related somehow. I just don't remember exactly how.
Interesting.
I'm gonna skip the next one on the list because I'm gonna come back to it in a second. Icewind Dale was, a D&D inspired RPG, which those were cool, but they were basically knockoffs of an already existing franchise. Jet Set Radio, again, one of those ones where people talk about it like it's the be all end all of its genre, and
It's a good game. It's fun, but that's it.
never played it.
It's like what the heck is that game that came out on the Xbox that was supposed to be heavily inspired by it? That
Sunset Overdrive.
you thank you, and it was like going to be the next innovation in that, and then it just went wah. And that was a fine game, but it did nothing really for me.
Yeah, it was okay. I played it for about an hour, and was not sad to not go back to it.
Yeah, and that's that loop. And this is what I talk about in games. I ask, what's the loop like? Because if I'm hooked with the loop, I'm in it. If you don't get me hooked with the loop, why do I want to keep going? It's the biggest reason that I'm turned off by these looter shooters like Destiny. Because I played the first one, the loop was fine, but then the reward wasn't there for the loop. You got here's a little bit of dust, for your efforts. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
that's what kills me about a lot of those games is that you can get away with not innovating greatly on the gameplay loop if you at least have a really good story for the loop to go under. And so many of these rely so heavily on the idea that you're going to get invested on the loop itself.
Right. Well, I mean, most games in general are a loop. Let's talk about one of the greatest narratives of recent times that I played was The Last of Us, right? That's just basically clear out an area stealth or go in guns blazing, get to the next area for more narrative. It is the same. It is the same loop almost entirely through. Get through a long passageway. You have different types of enemies to overcome. Get her on a raft again to get to the other side, or find a ladder. Get her to it's an escort mission. The loop is the same.
It's literally an escort mission from beginning to end.
But the story is what keeps you interested. So it's like, it's either got to be the loop or the story that keeps me going. In Destiny, I don't even talk about the nonsense story under that because it's just non-existent. And the loop didn't get me. So for me, I was done. So
I'll say in defense of Destiny, the vanilla game relied almost exclusively on the loop. And they were just like, oh, if you want story, it exists. But we're not going to give it to you here. That would be silly. But then the expansions did actually make up for that a lot.
Yeah, but
they fixed it. It got better.
It's too late.
I'm not saying it made it worth buying. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like
it's one of those
things.
things.
The loop or you didn't.
It's one of those things. You buy a vanilla ice cream cone. And you're like, the other store is better. But wait. Come here. For another couple bucks, I'll put some sprinkles. Exactly. I'll put some sprinkles. Like, okay, we're getting there. But wait. Some caramel. Ooh, okay. What if we add some little chocolate on there? What if we put a cherry on top? And then your ice cream's like $17 instead of $2, which was better down the road. And it's like, I'm gonna go elsewhere. I'm gonna get it elsewhere. So
and that's what I'll say. I invested in the original Destiny heavily and was very let down. I never even made it to but at that point I'd already invested in the game and I thought I was going to enjoy it more, so I bought the season pass for the DLC. So by the time the DLC came out, I was already both time invested in having been playing it before and also monetarily invested. So it was like, I'll give it a shot. And I was very pleasantly surprised by how far along it came. But if I had played, say, the demo and then that was it, like, I wouldn't have rushed out to buy it after all the new stuff came out at that point. Like, it wasn't enough of an improvement to bring me back in other than I already owned it.
Yeah.
But anyway, speaking of off-topic things like we do.
we continue to drive off.
Woo.
This is gonna be
But
a long
so
show.
after Jet Set Radio, we saw Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which again, if you like fighting games, I mean, it was cool.
One of the best ones.
And I love it. It just, you know,
It's a
it was
fighting
just
game.
2.
Yeah.
There was nothing big to say. Homeworld as a franchise, I've always been interested in, but I never played any of them, including Cataclysm, so I got nothing here. I froze for a second there. Okay.
Oh, you're good.
And Mortal Kombat Special Forces, I don't even remember. So that should really tell you how big that game was for me. But the one that I'm really surprised you didn't highlight on at all was Diablo 2.
So, real quick, chat mentioned old PlayStation magazines for demo discs. We could do a whole episode on demo discs. Like, we really could. I have a lot to say or share about that, so I'm not going to get off into another topic because both Locke and I are very long-winded individuals. This show will go from...
We just got back on topic.
Right. We will take note. That is a good idea for a topic for a future show. But Diablo 2, this goes back to what we were saying a little bit ago. What did it come out on? PC. My first experience with Diablo was Diablo 3 on the Xbox 360.
Oh. It's very surprising.
Not that I avoided it.
I mean, I guess in context to the rest of this episode, not so much, but...
Right. Not that I avoided the series. I was familiar with it, just like StarCraft and all these other, very popular type games like this. But man, I don't know where I saw it. I was working at GameStop at the time, and we couldn't get a copy in used of Diablo. And I didn't want to pay full price for one. You know how much they paid us there.
Yep.
So a lot of game buying was just out the question. So I found somebody on Craigslist a few cities over. I had to drive like 40 minutes to meet them in a parking lot of a Meijer. They were selling it.
That doesn't sound sketch at all.
Oh, it was incredibly sketch. I had a friend go with me, so it was okay. But it was like $20. And used it was like $49 or something everywhere. And I'm like, why are you getting rid of it? And I guess
That's not bad. Yeah.
they were over it. They preferred the PC version. I had like a back and forth email with this dude. Looked at it, looked great, gave him the money, went home. I'm like excited. I had played the demo or something. Hooked. To this day, I have rebought that game on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Switch. I have put hundreds of hours in Diablo 3. So the reason I didn't note Diablo 2 as being significant is because I just simply did not play it ever. So this remaster of it coming out now, I am beyond excited for because I missed that back then. And I know there's going to be some limitations and differences between 2 and 3. But I don't care. I love that gameplay loop is what we just talked about. That sits with me well because there are proper rewards. So I'm excited. And that's my...
I would definitely temper your expectations for 2 in the loop regard, because there is definitely a ceiling. Like the Paragon leveling system was new to 3, was not in 2.
Oh no!
Just as an example,
I was like 1,000 of Paragon too. I put so much time.
But that said, Diablo 2, I personally felt had a much better focused loot system. So like the loot in 3 was more widely varied, but I feel like the loot in 2 was better in my opinion. Plus I liked the Necromancer in 2 a lot more than I liked any class in 3. I haven't played the Necromancer in 3 yet because by the time that came out I'd already moved on, but
it's really good. Witch Hunter
I was hardcore Necromancer.
Demon Hunter's my main.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my style. To answer Kira real quick, why they stopped doing demo discs? Cost.
Yeah.
And because it's digital.
It wasn't... Not enough people were buying the magazine to offset the cost of printing the demo discs.
Yeah, it's the same way print media is dead.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately.
But so if nothing else, we do get to say Diablo 2 was a massive milestone. I mean, Diablo 1 was a big deal, but Diablo 2 was significantly larger. And of course, it led to 3, which was
awesome.
Groundbreaking in some ways.
So awesome. July is you, right?
Yes.
Yep. Hit us.
Because you read the list and then I went back through it.
Yep.
Okay. So, kicking off July on the 3rd, we had Dark Reign 2, July 18th saw Threads of Fate. The 29th saw Strider 2. On the 31st, we had Spirit of Speed 1937. And that was all of July.
I got nothing.
And I know nothing about any of these other than I'm familiar with Strider as a franchise. Past that, I don't know.
Yeah, we can move on then.
Yeah, I think so. I think we just roll right into August.
Let's roll right into August. The boys of summer. August 3rd, Shin Sagoku Musou. How do you say that? I'm just butchering
You
this.
actually got it almost perfectly right from the jump. And what's super interesting is what this game is actually called here.
What is it?
Dynasty Warriors.
Ah, dude, really? That's what it translates to?
Shin Sun Goku Musou is apparently Dynasty Warriors too.
Which, if you're unfamiliar with the Dynasty series, Hyrule Warriors is a spin-off of Dynasty Warriors, and that franchise and style of gameplay, that's one that gets me. I actually do like that series. But no, I didn't play that. It's quoted here, it's in Japan, hence the Japanese name for that title. August 15th, Chrono Cross.
Yeah, it came out.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it came out in Japan in August and then in America in October, same year, and we don't have it on the list for some reason.
Oh, that's weird. This is from Wiki, our sources here, so.
Yeah, well, and maybe that's why, because it was already here as the Japanese version. Anyway, go ahead.
Oops.
After that, we had, what was it, Chrono Cross?
Chrono Cross, August 15th. August 24th, Age of Empires 2, The Conquerors. August 26th, Dragon Quest 7 in Japan. August 28th, Mario Tennis. August 30th, WWF Royal Rumble on the Dreamcast. I'm going to throw it back at you. Let's do this.
All right. Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to double check something real quick. Okay, so I meant to, and for some reason I guess did not make a note of Chrono Cross, and that's actually where I'm going to start. We already discussed the first one was Dynasty Warriors 2.
Yeah.
Familiar with the franchise, never played the game. Let's move on. Chrono Cross, for those who don't know, is actually the sequel to Chrono Trigger. But it was a major change in a lot of ways, and it does actually feature cameos from Chrono and I think Marl, both, but at least Chrono for sure. But they almost don't tell you that at all. Like when I got the game originally, I was like, oh, this looks similar to Chrono Trigger. Let me check it out. But like nothing in the intro story is like, hey, this is Chrono Trigger's, long lost cousin or whatever. And you got to get like 30 hours into the game or some shit before you actually see the first cameo from any of the Chrono Trigger characters. But it is a phenomenal RPG. I remember it very, very fondly. It was 2 discs, if that tells you how long it was.
Damn.
So not quite full on Final Fantasy level, but it was not short. All 3. Chrono, Marl, and Luna. Yeah, okay. I was 100% sure Chrono was in there, but I couldn't remember. Yeah, Chrono Cross. Apparently, we have people yelling while I'm recording a podcast. That's cool. Chrono Cross is one of those ones where it holds very, very fond place in my heart. I loved that game a lot. And it was a very underrated connection to Chrono Trigger. Like, if you say Chrono Trigger, even if people haven't played it, they know it. You know what I mean? And Chrono Cross, like you mentioned Chrono Cross, and people are like, what's that? And it hurts my feelings a little bit, because seriously, it's a phenomenal game. And it is one that I highly recommend if you have the opportunity to get it.
So, Locke, I got to tell you something.
You didn't like Chrono Trigger?
I've never played it. I've never played Chrono Cross.
Auditions are open for...
I've played Chrono Trigger.
No,
I've never played Chrono Cross.
Okay.
So-
No, and that's fair, but that's what I mean. Like, it went right under the radar. I don't even know how I found it. Like, it wasn't like I knew about it and sought it out. Like,
Here's how the
somebody
scene
was like,
played
"Oh,
out.
You heard about this?"
Locke was like, ooh, piece of candy.
Basically. I thought the art style looked cool. It was very reminiscent of the other, was it Akira Toriyama? Is that the artist that does those? I think. Yep, it is Akira Toriyama, who is the artist behind not just Chrono Trigger, but also Chrono Cross and Dragon Ball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it's clearly a very distinct art style. You know,
Yeah.
if you see his work, you know it's his.
You know it, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, it's one I just didn't get to. I believe I have it on my PS1 Classic because I have a little thing that you can load more games in.
Yeah.
And it's on
I
there.
can't recommend it enough, but it's not something short. You know what I mean? You're not gonna play it over a weekend and be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
What sucks is the mobile-only Chrono game and the planned but never released third title. I never heard about a third title. Red, you're gonna have to get with me tomorrow about that because I did not know there was a third one. But yeah, like I said,
Cheer! Hey! What are we cheering? We're gonna be cheering some giveaways in a minute here.
oh yeah,
Stick with us. We got more to do.
Mario Tennis carrot.
is it over?
It is. She's hyped for Mario Tennis. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah. Age of Empires 2, again, its place as a franchise. That's all you got. Dragon Quest 7, same deal. Recognize it as a place in RPGs, but I never played it. And then, yeah, here we are at Mario Tennis on the N64.
Hands down, the best Mario Tennis game released to date.
Absolutely no question. 100% agreed. Period.
This was one of many fantastic sports games in the Mario sports world released for the N64. Mario Golf was okay, but pretty much everything in the sports world for Mario on the 64 was a smash hit. And Mario Tennis was way up there. I myself in high school was a tennis player. And this, I don't know what they did, but it felt like you were playing tennis. I know it's a game, but there's still some sense of simulation. I know it's super over the top too. Like this is not real tennis by any means. But it still had that simulation kind of feel to it because it had the different court types. Each character's like home court had different, environment to it, whether it's clay, grass, your traditional, and so on. And there were challenges. The character selection could have been better, but it's a great...
The characters were distinct, though,
yes,
which I think is far more important than having a large selection.
True, they all had their advantages and disadvantages. Some were fast, some were slow, some were tall, some hit harder, some had better spin, some had better serve technique or return. Like there was a strategy, and you would utilize that whether you're playing singles or doubles or who you were going against. And then the smashes too, when you could smash it back. Like it was so good. Not to say the future releases were bad. Check out episode 40 of the Weekly Dosage because we did that intentionally. 40 Love is what we called it. That game is still good, but for whatever reason, they nailed it.
Live up to the
This was a fantastic title.
They absolutely peaked with N64, and the other ones, like no matter how good they have been, have never been at the same level.
I would almost say this game is almost enough to go buy an N64.
It's up there. It's up there.
Like not just this game, you would get a few others along with it, but if you're buying a few games, this would be part of those few games.
Since you're already buying one to play GoldenEye anyway, you might as well get Mario Tennis.
And Mario 64.
Yeah.
Possibly the best platformer ever.
Speaking of games that weirdly aged very well, Mario 64. Yeah, every Nintendo system has had an epic Mario sports title. I will grant that. And Mario Tennis, I think... You know what? This is just my personal opinion, but I think Mario Tennis on the N64 stands at the top of Mario sports entirely. Separating kart.
Yeah,
because I know kart racing technically is a sport.
But that's a different class. Strikers is good.
I agree.
On the Wii, the GameCube.
Oh my God, Strikers on the GameCube was so good. Charged was the one on the Wii.
Charged, yeah. The one on the GameCube, I still have my copy of. It's actually down below behind the green screen.
Both of them on the shelf across the room from me.
Those are good games. And like I said, like the sports games, initially you'd think like it's the Olympics, like Mario and Sonic, the Olympics. You're like, oh, shovelware nonsense. Oh, Mario playing tennis. Okay, what next? But then you play it and you're like, oh my God. And then that continued.
Mario Tennis was actually where I
was going to say, then that continued for so many sports titles. Not all of them, but so many were like, why are these good? Why are these good?
Yeah.
Because you, again, consider it like you're just waiting for that next main Mario title, and this is just to kind of keep that name alive. But no, they're good.
Yeah. No. Yes. But this was actually where I started playing pretty exclusively as Wario and everything. Like before, when I would play Mario Party, I would pick one of the other characters, like Donkey Kong or Yoshi or whatever, like just whoever I felt like playing.
I'm a Yoshi. That's my dude.
But once I started playing Mario Tennis, it was Wario all day for everything since then.
Mario. Speaking of Mario, Lego Super Mario has announced Luigi expansion set coming out in August.
Ooh. Wario is an underrated character, Watson. I agree.
It's just, I don't know. Waluigi, like, he's weird too.
That poor guy gets excluded from everything, and it's heartbreaking.
Because he's weird.
He is weird.
I gotta fix him. There we go. Okay. My playlist I made ended.
Out. Oh, did it?
Yeah. I made a playlist that was like
a little farther than we thought.
We have. I was like, there's no way we'll go along in this playlist.
Whoops.
Yeah.
So let's close out August. The last one on here is bolded. I don't know if you did that. I didn't do that.
I
WWF
did.
Royal Rumble for the Dreamcast is a completely different game.
I did. I
than
bolded
the SNES one.
It really is. I did. I own it. I bolded it for a reason. Because it introduced an actual decent Royal Rumble event where the camera was fixed with the background of the Titantron and the entrance ramp, and you could actually see them in their music and their Titantron when they come down. So it introduced just a better Royal Rumble experience. And that's really the only thing I wanted to highlight on it. By all means, it's just an arcade button mash wrestling game from that era. The N64 did them way better. Okay. But I just wanted to note this as far as like technical advancements in the wrestling games and kind of what we were getting, and then what we ventured into with like Raw and Raw 2 on the Xbox in the coming years. And then other experimentations of the WrestleMania titles on the GameCube, as well as Day of Reckoning and some of those things, if you're familiar with the wrestling games of that era. We were starting to see a lot of new stuff technically, and I felt like this was that hump over what everything was on the 64, because everything was just a copy. The WCW games, the WWF games, and the 64, they were all the same, right? You got the same type of gameplay. It was just all about the characters and the customizing. Yeah. This really started to separate from that.
Started getting stuff break away.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it went back into more arcade stuff too. So the early 90s arcade style, as far as the gameplay. So it's not a good game, but it's notable for those things. That's why I bolded it. So September is back to you. So go ahead.
Well, before we do September, do you want to do the next drawing?
Oh, good call. Yes. Let's do 5 more of the 100,000. Listeners, we got 5 drawings coming here. Give me here. Let me pull up my list so I know who's getting what.
You said 5 more?
5 more. Let's do it. That's your post.
And yet I typed 6.
Where is the post?
I did type 5. I just can't read.
Okay, 5 more. And yes, Lana, we did play the crap out of Raw 2. Her and I played that a lot when we first started dating. 100,000 strands will
While
be...
you're doing that...
Oh, go.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I thought you needed a second.
Nope. 820. 820, and that is rated 820. So you can barely see it because I was an idiot and I bought green cards. Not a green card, but green ticket stubs. So that's our 6th. This is number 7 here. And it ends in 375. 375 is DKA with another 100,000 prize. So congratulations, DKA. They've won a few now.
Yeah, he's at 300,000 so far.
Damn. Ending in 681, which is rated 681. Okay. 710. Rated. Another one for rated. 710. And one more here before we head back in. We still got more drawings left, so stick with us. 956. Slyco. 956. So there we go. We have 4 more coming in a little bit. Those will be for 250,000 strands each. And then we'll have also our drawing for our grand prize. So stick with us. More to come. Let's head into September.
Okay. Let me get back up there.
And as we continue, we'll just continue to fly through some of these as we've been doing here and really dive deep into the ones that are noted. So hopefully this will speed up here because I know you guys are anxious for the big prize.
Okay, so let's kick off September 1st, literally first day of the month, with Spider-Man for the PlayStation 1, Game Boy Color, and Nintendo 64. September 12th saw the release of Parasite Eve 2, followed on the 13th by Lego Stunt Rally. On the 15th, we saw Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. On the 19th, a tiny little game. I don't know if you guys might have played this one. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, I think is how you say that.
I don't know. I never heard of it.
Yeah, September 24th, we see Baldur's Gate 2, Shadows of Amn. Amon? I don't know how to pronounce that one. I'm going to go with September 24th, again, Little Mermaid 2, Pinball Frenzy. I was not expecting the subtitle, is what got me there. I'm going to be honest with you. September 25th, that's a weirdly coincidental pairing here. We see on the Game Boy Color, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and on the same day on the PlayStation 1, we saw Vampire Hunter.
I mean, in all honesty, like, that's not a bad marketing attempt.
Yeah, I just drop them together.
Yeah, you like vampires? Just buy them both.
Yeah. September 26th, we see Destruction Derby Raw and NHL 2001. September 27th, the Game Boy Color saw releases of Dragon Warrior 1 and 2. September 28th, we see F1 Championship Season 2000 on the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and Game Boy Color to close out the month.
Man, how excited would you be buying 3 copies of that game on that day on 3 different systems? But for real, I didn't play that one.
I really love me some F1.
So,
No offense to anyone who does, I just don't. I'm not a racing guy.
Yeah, it's not my go fast and turn left jam. Really, like, there are some notable ones. I know Spider-Man for this time period had mixed things. They did some innovations, but I don't have really any specific notes to dive deep into, nor do I have memories of this title. Same goes for Parasite Eve 2. I know the lore, I know the story. I don't have enough information to really pull you into like a memory loop for that one. The one I really want to emphasize, the only one of this month that I really want to emphasize, besides NHL 2001, because it was the last NHL game that I really got into, is going to be September 19th's Tony Hawk 2. And I played this a lot. If you didn't know from my excitement from getting the remaster 1 and 2, I played this a lot. I loved, most notably, the first 2 Tony Hawk games. 3 and 4 were good. As it continued on, they were just kind of besides like Underground and stuff. But when this came out, this was the peak for me. I was all in. I was trying to be a skateboarder at the time, 15-year-old kid, trying to do things. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a skateboarder. And that didn't pan out. But I love
pan out, huh?
No, it was not for me. But I just love the world of skateboarding. I loved the culture. I loved everything about it. And the game itself was great. Like, it captured that vibe of what skateboarding was at the time, that punk world, if you will. And it was a really cool game. And they perfected so many things and improved upon so many things from the prior title. If you're going to have access to, well, in actuality, don't go back. Get the remasters that are out now. It's the better experience visually and mechanically, technically. Get them. And it's 1 and 2. Just get it, and you'll thank me later. But yes, I can't praise this game enough. I truly can't.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I was never a huge Tony Hawk fan myself, but I completely get where this was hugely influential. I know a lot of people love it. I have absolutely nothing negative to say about it. It just wasn't my cup of tea, that's all.
Wow. Wow.
I'm not coordinated enough to ride a skateboard, man. I can barely rollerblade. What do you want from me?
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, I don't think everyone that played this game could skateboard, I don't think that's also a rule where you have to.
I just meant, like, I didn't have the draw to it because skating wasn't, like, I wasn't into it. So the idea of playing a video game where I skateboard didn't really appeal either.
So I grew up on skating games. Skate or Die was a old Atari Nintendo game that I really got into.
Did love Skate or Die.
They made a sequel
lot.
to that as well. Fantastic game. Incredibly difficult to control. Very confusing game, but it's fun once you figure it out. Rob, as I mentioned, him and I were in a band, right? The very first song, once we had his bass guitar and my drums, and we found a kid named Kevin, not the Kevin you know, but he was our guitarist. We rocked out our first practice until Rob's mom came and picked him up. This tells you how young we are. So we're in my dad's basement. We wanted to come up with a rebel anthem for our skater friends to sing along to. And I came up with the idea of being inspired by Skate or Die, the game. So the song was called Skate or Die. So the chorus was a chant. It was all the people say, F your parents, because you're rebellious, middle fingers up. That was kind of the thing. And then all the people say, skate or die. And then it looped again in the chorus. And then it was just kind of talking about the world of skating and just being rebellious teenager. And we were punks. We shopped at Hot Topic. We wore the metal, neck choker things and the studded belts. We were all in this world of skating. We wore Vans. Ty in chat here is laughing, but while practicing in my dad's basement, of course. But that was the mentality. There's more to the story too. This is not therapy hour because I could get real deep here. The reasoning behind the influence of lyrics, right? There's more to Locke knows some of it, so he understands on a basic level. But this was really what was the world I was in at this time. So you got to paint that whole picture and why this stuff was so important and so inspiring to me and why it all connected. And way off in another tangent here, another topic. Sorry, I continuously derail us, but I really wanted to drive that deep that, yes, I played in a band. I was a punk. A lot of people can claim they're in bands. It was just kind of a thing some people did, in high school as teenagers. And that was the character I was in high school, back then. This was who I thought I was. And do I regret any of that? Of course not. That was a period of time. It's a learning experience, a weird time for all of us as teenagers. Good Lord. Very awkward time.
No question.
But it was fun. This is just what you did, from my clique, my crew. The corrupt crew is what we called them. Because we were just a bunch of, not so good kids. Troublemakers. If you're Facebook friends with me, gander at old photos. Not even all those are on there.
That's true. They are there.
Not all of them, though. There are some that I still have. There are some. There are some also in a cooler that sits next to our bed of that exact time period. So the angry adolescents, the angsty adolescents, rather. That sounds like a band.
And that's exactly what I meant when I said, I literally have nothing negative to say about the franchise. I recognize that it connected and resonated with a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And I know you have a very personal connection to the franchise for sure. Mm-hmm. I just don't have anything positive to say because the only positive thing I can say is I heard of that game.
I mean, it's fair.
I know of it.
Clearly, we have, on this list that we've gone through so far, very different relationships with these games as far as what we were, what we were doing at that time period. Let's continue this experience though as we dive into, unless you have more to say in September.
Well, yeah, we skipped over Spider-Man. You jumped straight to Tony Hawk.
Oh, did I? Go back then. Go back. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, well, in fairness, I don't really have a ton to say about it either. I just specifically, this was one of my superhero games that I distinctly remember playing. Other than like X-Men on the Genesis, you know what I mean? Or like there was the handful SNES as well. But this was very next level compared to those for sure. And it was definitely the first Spider-Man focused game because he was in a couple of the other ones, but this was the first Spider-Man centric game that I played, and I actually have some really, really fond memories of playing this game, which is hilarious because I went back a couple of years ago and tried to play it again, and holy crap, it does not hold up. At least it didn't to me. Like if somebody else still thinks it does, more power to you. But man,
Well, I can only
it did not
imagine.
age well, in my opinion.
I was just saying, I can only imagine after the one we have now, or the ones we have now, that it doesn't hold up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you live up to that?
You
Being
don't.
a 20-year-old game.
You don't.
You
21-year-old.
just don't. Yeah. Well, not quite.
Almost.
It's not September yet.
Okay.
But yes.
It was in development.
Yeah. And I mean, what words can you possibly use to describe the magnitude of the Little Mermaid 2 pinball frenzy, really?
It's a frenzy.
I was not prepared for that, sincerely. But kidding aside, Baldur's Gate 2, another one. I know I played it. I know I enjoyed it. Can't remember squat about it, but I do love the franchise, and it's another one of those. It was Diablo adjacent. So, like, if you like those kinds of games, the 3D isometric point-and-click adventure RPGs, it's not anywhere near as frenetic as Diablo. It's very much a D&D RPG, but it was a really good time.
So
And then,
Ty,
Buffy and Vampire Hunter D, I'm very familiar with and love both those franchises. Never played either one of those games.
no, me neither. Ty asks, how is the 20-year-old game considered old but not me? Because games have not aged as gracefully as you have, sir.
That's true.
This is the best.
If I look at
compliment.
Spider-Man from 2000, I can tell that game is ancient. If I look at you, I'm like, oh, look, it's a little baby.
Yeah, I'm
I want
like,
to pinch his cheeks.
I'll use the same word for both. I'll be like, damn, or damn.
There you go.
So, October
All right, so is October me or you?
is me. I'm even. You're the odd one.
All right, yeah.
See what I did there? October, Zeus, Master of Olympus. October 5th, Skies of Arcadia. October 15th, Pokemon Gold and Silver. October 19th, Donald Duck going quackers. Come on. October 22nd, Quake 3 Arena. October 23rd, Command & Conquer Red Alert 2. Also on the 23rd, Time Splitters. 24th, Mega Man Legends 2. 25th, Midnight Club Street Racing. Ridge Racer 5. Spyro, Year of the Dragon. On the 26th, Fantavision, Don't You Wanta. Sorry. 26th, Madden NFL 2001. 26th, SSX. 26th, Tekken Tag Tournament. 27, Bust the Move Millennium. And the 31st, The Grinch.
He's a mean one.
Mr. Grinch. I only bolded a couple, and I don't even have a lot to add. So,
Yeah. I feel like we've said a lot about at least one of them already, incidentally.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we need to dive any deeper in Gold and Silver other than to introduce yet another new set of Pokemon and introduce some new mechanics on things like, if you've played it, you probably love it. And Gold and Silver is considered pretty good, so it's one you should play. And the other one, I think
Watson
we're both
is insistent that Gold is the best one.
Really? Gold is the best one?
That's what he's saying.
That's the no.
That's what he's saying.
I think if I had to pick, Black and White or Black and White 2 was the most fun I had with a Pokemon game and story.
That's real recent too, ain't it?
That's about 10 years.
Like 5-6 years ago or something?
Early
10?
2010s. It's got to be like 2010 to 2012. So,
Holy crap. September 18th, 2010.
yeah, see.
Why did I think that was so much more recent?
You can't quiz me on dates, remember? You're talking to the wrong guy.
I wasn't
challenged me
quizzing
at
you. I
dates.
just thought it was newer. You didn't give me a date before.
You
You
never
fool.
asked me out on a date. Anyways, awkward. There's your chance.
Oh, okay.
What's it a what?
Anyway, not until things calm down, because there's a Boneheads by my house we still got to go to.
Yes.
Like literally, like 6 minutes away from my house.
You know,
We
like
gotta
I'm.
go.
You know the one that was close to me. I'm actually closer to now. When we moved
Nice.
closer. We're literally on the same road almost.
That was the whole plan, wasn't it?
Yes, even though we haven't really supported it much during this whole situation, just because reasons.
What do you do?
Yeah.
I do want to go to this one at some point though, once we can. But anyway, that aside, first of all, I want to point out that we kicked off October with just Zeus. Zeus is such a big release; it spanned the entire month. No specific day, just October.
Yeah, I don't know why that's like that in there.
Yeah, I checked its specific wiki page, and it doesn't even say October. It just says 2000. Which is weird. But it's another entry in the city building. That's the only other thing you need to know about it. Skies of Arcadia, I don't remember. I never played it. It was an RPG on the Dreamcast, so I like I said, I missed basically everything Dreamcast. But the franchise is a big deal. I know a lot of people love it, so it's good. Pokemon Gold and Silver, we said a bunch on those earlier. Watson would like us to believe Gold is the best one.
I mean, hey, that's fine.
I can't dispute, because like I said, Red was the last one I actually played anyway. Like, I've watched other people play other ones, but that's where I'm at with Pokemon.
I think personally it's whatever like starters that you connect to is like, because obviously as your first impression, does it have good starters?
Yeah.
So, and for me, you're never going to top Pokemon Yellow because of Pikachu. So, and even if I start a game, if Pikachu is in the game, he's going to be my main anyways. So I'm running with Pikachu. Sorry, so they're all good.
100% for sure, and that's why I was so sad that they didn't come Yellow until like forever after Red and Blue.
It was only a year.
Yeah, when you're that young, that's forever. A year is a long time when you're a teenager. When you're an adult, it's like half an hour.
No kidding. I think we just aged in this episode.
That Watson also pointed out that Black and White 2 came out around 2016-ish. And I knew there was a second one, and maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Wait, there was a 6-year gap between Black and White and Black and White 2?
I don't know if it was that far necessarily. That
seems like a long time.
That's what he said. But, I mean, it's possible. They didn't do them back-to-back, I don't think. They did a generational skip between them, didn't they?
No, because it was on the DS.
I don't mean system generation. I mean Pokemon generation. Like there was Black, and then there was another thing, and then there was Black and White 2.
I don't think so. I think they were a year apart.
Anyway, we'll come back to that. I don't know. I mean, you would know better than I would for sure. I don't remember names. I don't remember names or words. Donald Duck going Quackers. Never played it. Kind of want to based on the name alone. Quake 3 Arena. I don't know why I didn't bold this one. Maybe it's because it's the Dreamcast version, but I can't even express to you. Oh, because it was Quake 2, not Quake 3. Grav was right. I was wrong. 2 was 2012. Rip me. Good job, Watson, making me look like a fool while we're live. Hurtful. I know I didn't mark Quake 3 because it wasn't Quake 3. I played Quake 3 a teeny bit, but Quake 2, so many hours. Just so many of them. All the hours.
That's a series I never got into.
The only reason I liked Quake 2 as much as I did was because it had a specific subset of mods that you could install easily that added things like a hook shot. So you could like hide in weird corners of the level that were never meant for that. And so me and a specific group of my buddies would get together and LAN. You know what I mean? And that's why Quake 2 is a big deal for me specifically, is because I have that memory with my friends, not because Unreal Tournament hit me bigger as a standalone experience than Quake 2 did by far, and I don't even
I've played
Unreal
that
Tournament all that much.
Yeah, and I've played that.
Yeah.
But I completely agree. Like a lot of times the memories create a bigger appreciation for a game than the actual quality or value of such game. GoldenEye being that example. So
absolutely. But so that said, our next one on the list is Command & Conquer Red Alert 2. And I saw Lana say something in the chat a while ago about how she thought you guys had one of them on the PC at some point.
We did. We bought a bundle of a bunch of them. Because, PC
Red
games
Alert 2
like
was
to do
phenomenal.
that. Yes. I love the Red Alert franchise, and there's something that I wanted to do and I never did just because I don't PC game a lot, and I should have. They did a remaster of the Red Alert game about a year or two
The
ago.
first one, you mean?
Yes. I think it was just the first one. Maybe it was the second one too. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was the first one though. They did
Let's find out.
a re-release. I think it was limited run. I'm not sure who actually printed it, but they had different packaging for it that you could get, and there was physical copies as well. I wanted to buy it, and it wasn't bad price, and I never did. And like I kick myself all the time for not doing that because I have so many memories with the Red Alert series. And co-op, yes, Tiberian Sun was good. I just have more memories with Red Alert than I do any of the others in the franchise. And I just played a lot of skirmish.
I am not finding Red Alert being the one that was remastered. I'm finding the original Command and Conquer 1 and 2, but not Red Alert.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I saw something.
I mean, I just can't find it. And I didn't even search for Command and Conquer. I searched literally for Red Alert Remastered.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong in that regard. But
And all I'm finding is,
I don't know. I just
well,
saw
maybe
something.
Red Alert was the second one.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw it 1 or 2 years ago. It was released. So, Tiberian Sun was the first game you ever played online. Halo 2 was my first online.
Oh, here we go. Release date June 5th, 2020. No, that's the original game. Command and Conquer Red Alert Remastered is a remastered version of the 1996 real-time strategy computer game Command and Conquer Red Alert and its 1997 expansion Counter-Strike and the Aftermath. Developed by Westwood and Intelligent, announced on November 14th, 2018, alongside Command and Conquer Remastered. The remasters were done by Petroglyph Games and Lemon Sky Studios, and they were released on the 5th of June, 2020. So yeah, it's weird I can't find that one though. Like, the only reference I found to Red Alert getting a remaster was in that article as a subnote to the original one getting remastered.
I'll have to look more into it. If I find information, because there's a YouTuber I watched that got a
No,
copy.
it's definitely real. That's what I'm saying.
Right,
Like,
but
it
I'm
got
saying
released.
I'm saying specifically like what it was all, and if that was the one that I'm speaking on exactly, because I don't remember what all was involved in it. I just remember that YouTuber speaking on it and showing off his, I was gonna say showing off his package, but Jesus, I mean he was technically. I refrain from saying something, then I say it anyways. Why don't just say it? But anyways, he was showing off his collector's edition that he had obtained from either the developer, whoever released it, the distributor, whoever released that special edition thing. Must admit, you confirm that isn't the one we used to have on your Super World. We did have Red Alert 2, yes, Lana. Yes, that was one of the bundle in that bundle. But anyways, moving on, we continue to spend
My parting thought on that, I played StarCraft a lot more, but I did love Red Alert and Red Alert 2. They were phenomenal games, and I highly recommend them, especially if there's a remaster of them for sure.
Mm-hmm. So good.
And then Time Splitters, I mean, it exists. I'm aware of it. I never played it. Mega Man Legends 2, I briefly mentioned earlier when we were talking about Tron. Mega Man 3D RPG. Check it out.
You got a boogie? What's going on?
No, I had like a piece of dead skin stuck to the end of my nose. If you want to ask me all these specific questions.
It's part of the, I have the table here. Like this is kind of like a talk show. We ask questions to each other.
Midnight Club Street Racing for the PS2. Again, big release to start off a franchise. Not one I ever personally cared about much. I was way more into Need for Speed. Ridge Racer 5. It's the 5th one. Spyro, I'm surprised, honestly, neither of us have more to say about. Like, I know why I don't, but I'm surprised neither of us have anything to say about it.
I like the original game. I like the series, but, like...
This wasn't one of those ones that really hit you?
It's not one that I wanted to spend a lot of time on. Like, we know Spyro is what it is. It exists. The re-release versions
really
of
back
them.
To the forefront.
Right. Like, they're fun. They exist. They're very approachable games, and they've aged well. Especially, again, with the remasters. That studio's knocking it out of the park too with Crash. And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
it's like, good job, guys. Who is it? Violation. Didn't we talk about them?
Volition.
Yeah. Didn't we talk about them forming at the beginning of this episode? Wasn't that a thing? Or?
That sounds like a thing. Let me scroll back up.
Sly has Spyro Remastered. This is a good bundle. Really good deal.
THQ acquired Volition.
So there you go. I don't know if that's the same relation, but anyways, yeah, I mean, Spyro's fine. Like, the Year of the Dragon, probably not the best one in the series, but maybe? I don't know.
It sure is a game. Fantavision is another one of those. Like, I'm aware of it. I've seen it. You would think I would care about it more because it was a rhythm game. And I feel like there was a version of it that came out on the Vita but I never played the PS2 one.
You know. I thought it's just when you drank
Madden
too much Fanta.
2001 What's that?
I thought it's just when you drank too much Fanta.
It's like beer goggles, but it's Fantavision.
Don't you want to?
But then Madden 2001, I feel like I've well established over the course of our time together how I feel about sports games, especially football games. I didn't care then. I don't care now. It exists.
2K1.
SSX. Yeah.
Yeah.
SSX is another one that I would have expected you to have more to say because I think that was one of the ones. No, we did Cool Borders, not SSX, wasn't it?
Yeah. Cool
Borders
Borders, to me, is a better snowboarding game. SSX, I have more of my memories in the versions on the 360. So.
Right on. And then Tekken Tag, it's a fighting game. If you like Tekken, it's Tekken.
Yep.
But Tag. Bust a Move is Game Boy Color. I missed that one. Didn't really have a ton of Game Boy games, honestly, at this point in my life. I love the Bust a Move franchise. Never really played this one.
Nope.
And then rounding out October was The Grinch. Which, you know.
Well, it's because the live action
even,
movie is that old as well.
Well, it's not even. This one is not, as far as I can tell, licensed off the movie. Off the live action movie. It's
just
based
its own
off the
thing.
original.
Oh, God.
It just came out around the same time.
So they're just capitalizing on that.
Yeah. The Grinch is a platform stealth video game based on the film How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Was released around the time of the film, hit theaters in 2000. George Lowe does uncredited work as the narrator of the game, but if you look at the cover art, it doesn't look anything like the original cartoon or the live action movie.
That sucks.
Which is weird.
Well, that's October. I was going to say, kick us off with November. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there.
All right. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in November. This is a big list.
Yeah.
Okay, starting off, November 6th, we see Capcom versus SNK Millennium Fight 2000, Crash Bash, Incredible Crisis, The World Is Not Enough, the first Shenmue? Anyway, Escape from Monkey Island, The Operative, No One Lives Forever. Oh, I skipped dates, sorry. November 8th for Escape from Monkey Island. November 9th, my birthday, by the way. The Operative, No One Lives Forever, and Counter-Strike for consoles.
I always forgot that was on Xbox.
Yeah. November 10th, we see the game Timeline. November 13th is the release of Final Fantasy IX. November 13th again is Madden NFL for the Game Boy Color. The Emperor's New Groove for PS1 and Game Boy Color. November 14th, we see Dexter's Laboratory Robot Rampage, the Powerpuff Girls Bad Mojo Jojo, and Sonic Shuffle. November 16th is Blues Brothers 2000 for the N64. November 17th is Tomb Raider Chronicles and Sacrifice. November 19th, oh, why didn't I bold this one, is Hitman Codename 47. Bold that while I'm here. November 20th is 007 Racing, Banjo-Tooie, Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, and Dave Mirra's Freestyle BMX for the Dreamcast. On November 22nd, we see Harvest Moon Back to Nature. The 23rd, we get Mech Warrior 4 Vengeance, as well as Star Trek Deep Space Nine The Fallen. And then rounding out November on 30th, we have Godzilla, the series, Monster Wars, and Scooby-Doo Classic Creep Capers.
So since you've mentioned them, let's only return to the ones we want to talk about, because that is a long month.
Is a list. Let's get the honorable mentions out of the way right up front here. Shenmue, big deal. Never played it. Don't care. Escape from
Same.
Monkey Island. Never played it. Big deal. Don't care.
Same.
Counter-Strike. Same deal.
Same.
Emperor's New Groove. I wish I cared about, but I don't. I love the movie. Don't care about the game. Interesting that we got 2 Cartoon Network games on the same day for the Game Boy Color in Dexter's Lab and Puzzles.
Yeah.
Sonic Shuffle. I don't even remember. And Banjo-Tooie, again, awesome franchise, not familiar. Batman Beyond, awesome cartoon, didn't play any of the games. And Harvest Moon, I think, is my last honorable mention. Is, again, a big franchise, but not one I've played or am familiar with.
Yeah, I would have to say you pretty much hit all the ones that I would have acknowledged as well as honorable mentions. So... The only, I think I have, one game for this?
Yeah, you had one bolded, and I bolded one that I meant to earlier.
So, November 13th, Final Fantasy IX. If you would have asked me at this time when this one came out, I would have told you that this is my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Wow.
So
That's bold.
when this one was coming out, when it came out and when I had played it.
Yeah.
My opinions have changed over the years, and there have been games that I've felt differently about that have grown or weakened. If I had to rank them right now, I'm not going to. But at the time of this release, I got this game, and I played a lot of it. And it had a fantastic story. It really got me connected with the Black Mage character, Vivi. And who's guest starring on our couch, by the way. Just the story... for them in this one, as well as some of the other main characters. I mean, you want a sad story, play Final Fantasy IX. I mean, play a lot of the Final Fantasies, but like this one is just
heartwarming.
Yeah, this is not a happy tale. I just like the world of this one. I liked the cast. I thought this was a great story. Visually, it was such an advancement from where we came on the console was when we debuted with 7. And I thought this perfected what was released on the PS1 at the time until we finally got the next evolution on the PS2 and X. And again, Final Fantasy is another whole episode in itself of what we could talk about.
Yeah.
But this game,
For sure.
if you're going to pick up a mainline Final Fantasy game, I heavily recommend this one still. And it's available on modern consoles too in a loosely remastered form. Mostly just upscaled visuals and better performance. It's still the same game for the most part.
It's on mobile now too, isn't it?
It is on mobile. You can get on iDevices and Android for around $20. I don't know how accessible it is with mobile controls unless you can use controller, and I don't know the answer to that. But it is a turn-based game, so it's not vital that you use a controller. But it's, I don't know, I prefer a controller. That's just me.
$20 is steep for a mobile game, though, in my opinion.
$20 is very steep for a mobile game. Wait for sales. They do sales on the Final Fantasy games on mobile all the time. Years ago, I bought the first Final Fantasy on mobile for like $3. I was like, I could justify that. But $20, yeesh.
I wouldn't argue with that.
Get in on the Switch
That's
if you have a
rough.
Switch. It's available on the PS4 and Xbox One. I believe it's even on Game Pass right now. So check it out. And it's the remastered version of 9. So mobile games are trash. There are some mobile games that are good, Plants vs. Zombies being one.
Plants vs. Zombies does not get the love it deserves.
No.
Which is why I streamed it.
Check that out in our archives.
As did you.
I did. You played PC.
You
I
did
played
the Xbox,
console.
I did PC.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely check those out. But hands down, if you have Game Pass, go check for it. I believe the remastered version of 9 is on there. Spend a weekend messing around with it. If you get hooked to the story, great. If you don't, come talk to me. I want to learn about you.
I want to know what's wrong with you.
Right. But I loved this game. I really did. And I got into it way more than I did 7. And I know everyone's like, 7 is the greatest. Fair. But 9 is really, really good. So that's my
You
take
say
on it.
that's fair. This is gonna make you sad. I didn't own a PlayStation 1 anymore at the time that 9 came out, and by the time I got another one, the moment had passed. I, to this day, have not sat down and played 9 yet. It's on my list. I want to, but it's hard to justify going back to a 20-year-old game when I've got stuff I'm dropping money on left and right now. Especially one that's not like, again, you're not going to play it over a weekend and be done, just like Chrono Cross, you know?
No, I mean, this one, you'll put probably 60 to 80 hours in.
Yeah.
9 hertz.
And that's the
red
thing,
boost
like,
feelings.
I got to find the time. I want to. I don't have anything against it. I missed the boat at the time when it came and went.
Yeah, I mean, totally fair.
So-
It's just if you do have the time and if you do have Game Pass and you're looking for a game to play, sink into this one. Trust me.
I could do that. So to move along a little bit, the one game that I added bold to was Hitman Codename 47. I don't have a ton I want to say about this one, and it's probably why I ultimately didn't bold it originally. I got this game when it originally came. I had a tremendous amount of fun with it. I absolutely loved it. I got to like the 5th level. I got stuck. I uninstalled it. I never touched it again. But it is the first game in the Hitman franchise. It set a lot of the groundwork. It introduces you to 47, the main character. It's a good game for its time that aged okay. The controls are a little bit wonky, but overall the gameplay elements are in place. You know what I mean? And that's kind of all I want to really say about it is if you like the current Hitman games and you've got some spare time, try to dig out somewhere and just check out where Hitman came from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one
what I got.
I feel like the lore in the world is already so deep that I've only played, I think, 3, and that was like 10 years ago.
Well, 3 is a continuation off of the lore and story from this one, but the new ones are a reboot.
Okay. So that was the only one.
So it's one of those.
So for me, I was like, I'm diving in too late, and I'm not going to do the full deep dive on it. So it's just like, this exists,
fair.
I respect it, and it's, yeah. And I know there's movies,
Well,
too. There's 2 movies.
I have no idea where the movies sit. I never watched either one of them. I never heard anything really to make me feel like I needed to.
Yeah, no.
But I feel like that says basically everything we need to say about November, yeah?
Yeah. So, December. Nope. After December, I'll do the raffle, and then we'll do the ranking of the critically acclaimed, and then we'll do our final raffle to close.
Right on.
So December is a
All right,
little bit shorter. December 1st, Disney's Aladdin, Nasira's Revenge. Am I saying that right?
Yeah. That was off the TV show.
Which, yeah, I didn't dive too much into. This one I see in speedruns. December 4th, Evil Dead Hail to the King. This one had mixed reviews. From watching it in speedrun, it looks fun. I never played it. December 4th, Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. December 6th, American McGee's Alice. December 6th, how do you pronounce that? Grandia 2?
Grandia.
Okay. Giant Citizen Kabuto. Mario Party 3 in Japan. That's a specific note there. Project Justice on the 7th as well. On the 10th, Monster Rancher Hopabout. Come on. Batman Beyond Return of the Joker on the 64th. On the 13th, Dark Cloud in Japan on the 14th. Pokemon Crystal in Japan on the 14th. We got a like. Somebody liked us. Why is that coming up in alerts now? That's weird. 21
It's
Fantasy.
tied to the YouTube.
What?
Streamlabs is tied to YouTube and Facebook.
Ah, that's why. Thanks for the like, Scott. Fantasy Star Online, Japan 21st, and then closing out the year, ECW Anarchy Rules on December 30th. I literally only have one bolded here because I did not bold the Japan versions of games because those would be in North America in a different year, which we would talk about at that time. So really, I only have one to talk about, but I'll let you... Do you have any highlighted from this month?
I don't. I will say I loved the Aladdin show. I never played that game. Mario Party 3 we'll talk about later. Grandia is another one of those familiar with the franchise. It's very well loved. Never played it. Same thing with American McGee's Alice. That's a big, big deal. A lot of people love that game. I want to play it. I just never got around to it. So, no. I mean, I think, well, oh no, that's Japan as well as Pokemon Crystal. So Dark Cloud is also Japan. Yeah. So on to you and your one bolded one.
So the only one I bolded, and this is just like the Royal Rumble game, I bolded ECW Anarchy Rules, again on the Dreamcast, because it advanced some things and actually was a decent ECW wrestling game, which we had very minimal of around this time period. And it was their one and only real time period or chance that they had in mainstream media, because it was shortly after this the company would go bankrupt and defunct and then get bought for very cheap by Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And then obviously, if you know anything about the wrestling world, you know the story from there and what became of that. Well, nothing. So for this game, it's cool to go back and kind of relive those moments. It's that nostalgia thing. It didn't do much other than that, other than a few things, and it was very similar to what Royal Rumble was. And that's really all I wanted to highlight on it. So with that, that is the year 2000 in gaming. We still have one last segment on here, which is a very quick one, I promise. But before we get to that segment, let's do our second to final raffle here. We got 4 prizes coming your way. 250,000 strands. And yes, the purchase of ECW did bring talent to WWE.
Like Rob Van Dam, who is on the cover of Anarchy Rules.
Who is also a Hall of Famer now. So
yeah.
that's
Rhino is
cool.
also on the cover of that.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't have the cover in front of me. I fail. Ending in 770. Rated 250,000 strands. Ending in 439. DKA. 250,000 strands. Ending in 883. Slyco. 250,000 strands. And our last 250,000 strand winner. Ending in 901. Slyco. With another 250,000 strands. Wowza. We got some big winners.
Yeah.
That leaves us with our final segment.
Rated is at almost 1 million strands just from his winnings.
Is he really? That's almost enough to book a general manager show because it costs 1 million strands.
650,000.
Good Lord, guys. Nice job. Proud of you guys. You guys are the best. Let's talk about
700.
Jesus.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's go.
All right. So starting at the bottom of this list, not straight up bottom, but these are the critically acclaimed titles. Resident Evil Code Veronica, 93%. Tony Hawk Pro Skater came out on the Dreamcast that year, 94%. Jet Set Radio, 91.9%. Final Fantasy IX, it was 92.72%. Majora's Mask, 91.95%. Baldur's Gate, 93.97%. Metal Gear Solid, the Game Boy Color version. Again, we can't emphasize that enough. That is not the one that I know. 95.61%. NFL 2K1, 94.5%. Perfect Dark, 94.55%. With a Metacritic of 97 out of 100. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the Dreamcast, 97 out of 100 Metacritic, and 94.86. And then the top critically acclaimed game of the year, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, on the PlayStation, 98 out of 100 with a 94.75%. So we pretty much brought up, except for the Metal Gear, and we didn't really dive too deep into 2K1. I mentioned it in a nod saying it was good, but we highlighted almost all of these games in some way with memories.
At least pointed out something about them, yeah.
So as you can see, they stand as being those critically acclaimed titles because 20, 21 years removed from them, we're on a podcast talking to you about our memories with him. Still. So, the scores don't lie. They hold some sort of importance. With that, though, we are going to conclude our show with probably what a lot of you are here for, still hanging out with us. And that is for our grand prize. And that is going to be for something of your choice. Let me pull back up the numbers here. And let me give the box a good shake.
Another big old shake.
It's so loud. It sounds really good in podcast format. People are like, what the hell are you listening to?
Yep.
All right, so I almost dropped the whole box on the floor. How bad would that have been? Oh, God.
Let the cat pick the winner then.
Meow. Oh, I'm so nervous for this. Are you guys nervous? No? Should we, like, see how long we can...
But you couldn't even hear that. I'm sad.
No.
I was doing a drum roll on the desk.
The grand prize winner for your guys' amazing support these past couple months. We can't say thank you enough, but the way we're saying thank you is giving back to you like this. And for this person here, you're getting something that hopefully is awesome. This is the winning ticket. Oh, God. Oh, God. The number is 396. DKA. 396. DKA has won. Sly says yes, like they won.
Congratulations, man.
Sly's happy. So DKA, you're going to get your choice of an Xbox Series X or S, a PS5 physical or digital, a championship belt. We'll discuss details if you want that. Cyberpunk Collector's Edition bundle. Kira with the cheer. Or if you want none of the above, talk to us. We'll figure something out. But DK is our winner of the raffle. DK, we can't thank you enough. We emphasized you earlier as being our second place top donator lifetime to this channel. We are so pleased to be able to give back to you for so much you've given to us, not in viewership, likes, supports, love, but also your generous donations. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you do for this channel. We are happy to give back for prizes like this.
The gift
It means everything.
of Jericho.
And hold on a
Drink
second.
it in, man.
Hold on a second. Yeah. We got redemptions coming in, and I'm waiting for the alert to get its proper thing. Andrew with the dilly. We're waiting for that to expire. The longest wait for the alert. Is it gonna go?
It came and went.
Did it? Okay.
It was before the dilly. I synced it. Yeah,
Oh,
I saw
it didn't
pop
go
up.
off though. 7,000 though. Bit donation from DK. 7,000. Thank you so much. Again, your continued support for this channel.
You are amazing, man.
We can't thank you enough for everything you do. And it goes right back into this next current raffle we have. So for those that don't know, we continue it on. Right when one ends, we start another. The cycle continues. The one thing we have to preface, it is still difficult to find consoles. Locke and I, and even Lana, when these things conclude, we hunt daily to find something for you guys. So we're not going to give up. And if you find something too and we haven't contacted you or told you we got it, let us know. Give us leads too. Help us help you get one. We're going to find it. You're going to get it. Just be patient, please, with us because we all know there's a shortage. What did he say?
Yeah.
What did he say? You want a disc what?
PS5 disc version.
He wants a PS5 disc version. We will begin our hunt right away. He said, Trevor says they restocked the other day at 4:30 a.m. We're going to do our best. We promise. We promise. So again, DK, congratulations. Thank you so much. Locke, we have a task ahead of us now to fulfill that. We will find it. I've had success.
It's a good thing I never unfollowed any of those accounts, man.
Exactly. And we're already, because of your guys' continued support, we're 17% towards our next one. And we'll continue doing this until, obviously, no one's interested anymore or until we just can't do it anymore. But we're going to continue as long as you guys keep showing up. But for the podcast itself, you can find us every Tuesday with a brand new podcast show in rotation. The Dosage is an ongoing series. This is 114 episodes strong. You can check out our archives available on podcast platforms as well as on our YouTube channel. Search Dose of Nerd Acumen for both. But 114 strong. In 3 weeks, we'll be back again. Most likely we'll be discussing, unless we come up with something different, the year 2001 in gaming, if you guys enjoyed this. We have some work ahead of us to polish and shorten this episode. We promise you that. Because... funny story real quick, since we're already this deep into the show. Yeah. Locke was like, I loved your idea of what we did in the 90s. Can we shorten it and make it just one topic? Because if you watched or listened to our 90s series, we discussed gaming, music, comics, movies, wrestling. That's 5 things. And we did it in half the time we did today's show. How?
Well, okay, so in fairness, one of the reasons that I wanted to trim it down to one category was because it felt sometimes like we got through them in an hour and a half because we just read what came out and went, yeah, that happened. Okay, what's next?
Because we did. Because we were flying through content. We were flying.
And so that was why I was so excited to visit this one with you, was because I figured trimming it down to one category would give us the ability to talk about things, but still kind of do it in the same time. What I underestimated was that neither of us know how to shut up.
Well, we have stories for everything, and then we get off topic. We're notorious for that.
Very much
back
so.
when we were doing the weekly dosage, you didn't leave my home until 1 a.m.
Yeah,
and some of those nights we were doing them on the Thursday night shows.
Oh, those were so rough sometimes.
And both of us had work in the morning. Our third partner didn't, so he didn't care. But for you and I, we're like, all right, come on, we got to go to work in the morning. So for a while there, it was rough. Then we shifted to Fridays, but that didn't always work because I'm camping in the summers on Fridays, so we had to switch back. So it was rough for a minute there. But as mentioned, 114 episodes strong. Every Tuesday is the place to find our new podcasts. Every 3 weeks is a new dosage. Next week will be reviewing the Super Mario Brothers movie. That is also on a 3-week cycle. We review video game movies, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Our next one again is Mario. The week after that is our next music podcast. We're going to be reviewing Van Weezer, the upcoming album by Weezer. So tune in for that. So again, every Tuesday is a new podcast show. We export these to podcast platforms. You can find it by searching Dose of Nerd Acumen on Google, Apple, Spotify, and so on. Find your favorite one. Follow us, sub, tell your friends. For the rest of the week, starting on Sundays, is the NOW podcast with Cody, Trevor, and rotating guests. Be sure to check them out every Sunday night. Every Monday night, Cody has a new show. He's been trying to get GTA role-playing to work. Unfortunately, has not worked yet. Server issues from my understanding. Hopefully the debut of that will happen next week, Monday. Every Wednesday and Thursday night, especially starting next week, Wednesday night's NAW Contendership Night. If you redeem for title matches, your Contendership matches will take place on Wednesdays. Thursday nights will be Championship nights. Tune in for those for your championship matches that you won on Wednesday nights for. Also debuting when I'm going to try out, depending on how short NAW can be on Wednesdays and Thursdays with this new format, my idea is 90-minute episodes. I'm going to hang out after the episode for an hour and play a second game. Because there are games I want to play for you. I just don't have any other nights to play them because our channel is booked. So I'm going to try to put an hour into an extra game after NAW goes off the air. One of the ones I want to do is obviously the upcoming Resident Evil, as well as Returnal, and Pokemon Snap, and many other games. But they're going to be short. They're going to be hour little things. But if you want to hang out after NAW, that's what I'm going to try out doing, see how late things go. Obviously, if NAW ends at 11, I'm not doing that. It's way too late. Fridays are up in the air. That's kind of an open night. Turn on alerts for that. And then we conclude every single week with the guy right here, Lock Steady, with a Lockbox episode. Working title still-ish?
I don't tend to use that so much because I used it specifically for Jackbox.
Okay.
So just, it's me. I variety stream, and that's part of why I don't really have a working title at the moment. I believe this Saturday, unless something changes, we're going to be doing episode 2 of It Takes Two.
Okay.
Smalls is nodding. So, yeah, look for me to continue It Takes Two.
So, again, turn on alerts Saturdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Not Eastern Standard Time, because I was corrected on that. Eastern Daylight Time. You bastard. 8 o'clock ET Eastern time. Although I don't know if that's technically accurate either. Regardless, turn on those notifications. Follow us. Join our Discord. You're going to stay up to date there. If you're not on social media, we're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can just find us everywhere. Just search for Dosage and you can find us and just do the thing and follow us. Good Lord, there's a lot of talking
Hit
tonight.
exclamation social right here in the chat.
You can. We're on so many things. Ladies and gentlemen, though, this has been episode 114 of the Dosage Podcast. Locke, as always, thank you. Any parting thoughts?
No, my brain is fried at this point. As always, as Grav mentioned, I can't thank you guys enough. Show us just even showing up and hanging out with us, let alone filling up those giveaway bars and sending me all those lovely bees. I love the bees. Seriously, it means the world to us that you guys keep showing up and showing us all this support. We love you guys so much, and we always look forward to spending time with you. Thank you.
Yes, this is truly an awesome thing to have. So thank you guys so much. Of course, thank you, Locke. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this DNA community. Let's continue to grow this brand and grow this channel. And the future looks better and better because of all of you. So be safe out there. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day, wherever you may be at this time or wherever you're listening to this. And tune in next time.